This is Winnipeg Sports Talk Daily with Andrew Hustler Paterson and Michael Remis.
Victory Friday on WST, everybody. What is up? Canada is going to the gold medal game Sunday morning, and our entire country can exhale after another heart stopper. Canada winning 3-2 in a big comeback after being down 2-0 against Finland in the Olympic semifinal. Welcome to Winnipeg Sports Talk. A special thank you to everyone that joined us for our watch party stream this morning. That to say it smashed all our expectations would be the understatement of all time. Crazy numbers throughout the morning. Had a ton of new people discover the show and the stream. If any of you are popping on for the first time, welcome. We're here every day, 1 p.m. Central Time, Monday to Friday, live on YouTube. And, of course, you can find our podcast of the program if you want to listen on audio at your convenience. Wherever you get your favorite pods, just search Winnipeg Sports Talk and make sure to subscribe. We teamed up with the Coolbet boys this morning, and myself, Connor, Remis, Pat, Jake, sweated that game out, had fun with everyone in the chat, gave away a bunch of great prizes from Coolbet, and that's going to mean some more giveaways a little later on for people that were with the stream. So, of course, it's Friday. We always do a marble race at the end of the program. We will be doing that for everyone that's with us. But we've also got a couple things to give away from Coolbet, including 2 tickets for Jets Avalanche at Canada Life Center. First row, center ice, right behind the Winnipeg Jet bench, courtesy of Coolbet. So everyone that entered to win those, stick around before our main marble race. We're going to execute that. We've also got a great prize from Coolbet, which we'll be giving out to the second place winner. I won't get too far into it because I want to bring Connor and Remo in here to start off Victory Friday, but I will welcome everybody in chat. I know you're all in good spirits and a good mood. We'll have USA Slovakia to follow throughout part of the show. That's going to get going in about an hour, and we can all start making official plans for early Sunday morning. And just a quick programming note, the game will start at 7:10. You'd imagine it'll end around 9:40, 9:45. Probably, 20 minutes after that, something like that, just once everything gets done. Connor and Liz will be live with WST Sunday Live. Normally live at 9 a.m. It'll be pushed back. I mean, you can check the schedule on the YouTube channel, whether it's 10 or 10:15, whatever it is, but we will have full reaction after the gold medal game with Connor and Liz here on Winnipeg Sports Talk on Sunday, which should be a lot of fun as well. Listen, just before we bring in the boys, I want to thank all the sponsors that make WST happen each and every day. Of course, our great partners at Coolbet. Man, we had a great time this morning. Of course, the Winnipeg Jets. We do have those tickets to give away for people that were there. And if you haven't joined us for one of our WST Sunday, WST games of the month, our next one coming up next month against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Join us. We've got a great deal. Your ticket includes a beer. Go to winnipegjets.com/WST and jump on those. Also want to thank the folks at Princess Auto, Chud's Power Sports, Clean Line, Plumbing, Heating, and Electrical. Of course, Manitoba Battery, Uptown Alley, St. Vital Dental Center. I know Dr. Terry was popping in the stream this morning in between patients. Roley's Transfer. The gang at Aikens Lake Wilderness Lodge, Boston Pizza, Royal Sports, Little Brown Jug. There was plenty of Little Brown Jugs being enjoyed by members of the chat today. Looking at you, Tyson. And, of course, we'll get to a Why Not question of the day for Not Autocorp at Waverly and McGillivray. We will let you know about the St. B Mega Millions Lottery. And, of course, today, last day before tomorrow, to get in on the auction for the Aikens Lake trip in support of the HSC Foundation. Fellas, get in here. Michael Remis, Connor Rabchak. Boys, how are we doing now that we're 45 minutes or so out of the game, which was no walk in the park. That they had to earn that one.
Yeah, we did that live stream, and I was all excited, to be on, and then it got depressing very quickly with Canada down 2-0. A lot of silence, a lot of and then the second period, their play really picked up, got a lot more shots on goal. It kind of, and then as the game went on, and then once they tied it, it kind of felt inevitable. Although, you never know in a tie game, like one mistake and it's in the back of your net. So, yeah, it was amazing to see Nathan McKinnon with the winner on the power play late in the game. Didn't even need to get to overtime. Little tense there at the end. I don't know. We're joking that Elliot Friedman has made smoking cool. It's cool again. I'm not going to say, but yeah, I'm going to need to crack a 1919. I need to relax because very, very tense. I just need to lay down and spread out after that. It was very intense on the live stream.
Connor, you sweated out with us through the whole time. I mean, it wasn't easy, but it's not supposed to be in the Olympic Games.
I got to give it to you guys. Your ability to stress while host a watch along was impressive. I was just frozen. They were losing 2-1. I'm I can't speak. I can't breathe. I feel so tense. Man, I kind of feel battle tested in a way though, emotionally, after Czechia and now they were down 2-1 and look, if they were going to tie that game, the moment they tied that game, they will have been the better team for the last 40 minutes. Outside of the first period, Canada was dominating the flow of play, the shots on goal. And as soon as they tied it up, you felt great. But the thing about these single elimination games, Huss, and we've talked about it, is one bounce, one hot goalie, one high sticking penalty with just over 2 minutes left that Finland ended up taking can ultimately end your tournament. So Canada was absolutely in a good spot. Once they tied the game, you felt good about it, and a lot of shots were coming from the point. Nothing was getting through. They finally broke through, and then the high sticking, the power play clicks, Nathan McKinnon. And you look at the end of the game, and Canada dominated the shot clock, dominated the chances, all these things, but it's just single elimination. And when you're down 2-1 in the third, it's feeling tense. So, yeah, shout out to everyone who joined for the watch along, but I'm definitely feeling a lot better now than I was a couple hours ago, down 2-1.
Reem, for me, and in some ways that stream was actually sort of therapeutic, to be sitting there. Because you guys know me, I usually go out for the games, for Jet game. I'm either at the game or I go to a pub by my place, hook up with the same homies and watch the game. And we kind of do basically what we were just doing there. These morning games where I can't go out because I'm going right into the lock shop in the show, I've just sort of been sitting there. And that's when, the nervous energy really builds. And as I say, it was sort of fun to be able to talk to you guys, go off on tangents, talk about other stuff, watch the game. And obviously seeing how many people enjoyed and jumped in on it made it that much better. But I'll be honest, at 2-0 down after Halla had that absolutely filthy shorty on Binnington. And, we got to the midway point of the game and we're 2-0. And listen, I got a ton of respect for the Finns. They have so many great players. And even without Sasha Barkov, you go down that list of NHL superstars and realize that as great as our team is, this is a one-game situation. And, even the best teams in the world lose to garbage teams in the NHL. So it was all on the line. But once the first one went in and they got it, and, we were still in the second period, and it wasn't like we were watching the clock and needing to make up 2 into the third, you really started to feel the Canadian momentum. And I don't know about you, Reem, but it was even down 2-1 heading into the third period with the way Canada was playing. I had a pretty good sense of confidence that they were going to find a way like they always seem to do.
Yeah, you look at the shots on goal, first period, pretty even, 8-8, and is, Rantanen taking advantage of, the the power play after Sam Bennett, went a little too hard into the goalie. Our reaction on that on the stream was pretty funny. But yeah, second period, Canada outshooting Finland 14-3. And in the third period, outshooting them 17-6. So Canada really got better as the game went on, got more shots on goal, more taking it to the net, and they kind of found guys that were going and rode with them throughout the game, or throughout the rest of the game. So it was interesting how the ice time was going to shake out, really leaning on their horses. Macklin Celebrini, I mean, what a coming out party for him. Sidney Crosby in 2010 was the young guy. He was 22. What's Celebrini now? 19, playing 25, 53 in best on best, recording 1 assist and 8 shots on goal. And they
led
just
the
kept
whole team.
Yeah, and they just kept riding those guys. So McKinnon and McDavid. It was pretty awesome to watch those guys do their thing. And Finland, they got some really good players too. I mean, that was a world-class shot by Rantanen. Erik Haula, short-handed. Beautiful move, assisted by Joel Armia, who's had an excellent tournament. So Finland, a really good team. Wasn't going to be easy, but you can say that. But, real emotional roller coaster the last 2 games for Canada after a total cakewalk in the preliminary round.
Yeah, and you brought up Celebrini, time on ice leader, shots on goal leader, 19 years old. Like, the power play goal doesn't happen without him. Winning a battle below the goal line and getting the puck to McDavid and getting it to McKinnon. Like, this kid was eligible for the World Juniors. We've said this multiple times, and he's playing 25 minutes. He's playing 18 and a half of the final 40 of this game. And it's him, it's McKinnon, and it's McDavid on the top line, and they're running him out there every other shift, every offensive zone draw. It's so impressive. On the back end, we've talked a lot about the absence of Josh Morrissey and how that has limited Canada, at least I think. Thought Travis Sanheim stepped up today. Shea Theodore scores the goal. So maybe the absence was felt a little bit less without having Josh Morrissey. And you look at the back 40 minutes of this game, the shots on goal were 31-9. Like, Finland went up 2-0. They got the nice goal from Haula, like you said, Huss, and they just parked the bus and hoped to win 2-0 or 2-1. And it finally broke. Theodore got a shot through. Finland maybe thought it was goalie interference, decided not to challenge. And then McKinnon scores late. There's the long review on the blue line. We're looking at centimeters and skate blades and all of these things. Pixels are deciding an Olympic goal with 35 seconds left. It's quite something, but man, what a spectacle. And yeah, like Remis said, these games have really ramped up in the intensity, in the drama, from the preliminary round to right now, when, Finland on paper better than Czechia. You'd take their roster, and that was a close game. Czechia was. So you knew today would be tight. Finland plays a defensive style. UC Saros is a great goalie, but Canada just kept their foot on the gas and eventually broke through.
Yeah, they, I'm glad you brought up Sanheim. Because obviously we've been talking about Mark Stone and, Seth Jarvis, I thought was awesome in the Czech game. Sanheim really stepped up today. He stood out more than he had at any point in this tournament. He assisted on the Shea Theodore goal, which tied the game up. And they really needed it because there was no Josh today. Now, I'm not sure whether Mike McIntyre is going to join us from Milan, coming up in, I don't know, half an hour or so, whenever he's able to join us. But Connor, you had brought up just before we went live with the stream today that we found out that Josh wasn't playing again. And as I say, I have no idea whether this was, the coach going with the guys that just played in that last game and not wanting to reinsert a guy that had only played a period in the tournament, or Josh just can't go. But that was some bad news right out of the gate that Morrissey would not be available to the team. And, you just got to feel for Josh. I'm sure his gut-wrenching having to be there on the sidelines, watching that incredible tension, knowing he could be out there helping Canada win a gold medal.
For sure. And I know Mike McIntyre did comment on that on X, so I'm looking forward to having him on the show later. In terms of, like Mike said, 0 chance that this is a Morrissey's healthy and they're running with a winning lineup sort of thing. So you think this is what I put it out on X earlier, and I expressed my frustration on the watch party before we got going. He was practicing in full on Tuesday, And you look at all of the reporters were saying, yeah, he looks great. He looks like he has no limitations and all of these things. And he skated with Parayko, like I said, in the top 4, practice with no limitations. So to me, sitting here on Friday, I thought, okay, maybe the Czechia game it's the quarters. We should win anyways. Give Morrissey an extra day. This was the game where I was thinking, here we go. Josh Morrissey, he's healthy enough, no limitations on Tuesday. He'll be good to go. And they need him against a team like Finland. Well, I guess they didn't really need him because a guy like Sanheim and Theodore stepped up. But we all know how brilliant Josh Morrissey is and how big of a boost he would be to this lineup. So hopefully, and another part of this too, Huss and Reem, and feel free to disagree with me, but I felt like this was a last chance for JMO, because are they going to put him in cold in the gold medal game? I can't see them doing that either. I don't know if you guys agree or not, but
yeah, I'm just trying to. I mean, listen, it's a really tough decision to make. And I mean, it's not like you're calling up a guy from the Moose to take his place. I mean, you've got 8
for sure
star NHL defensemen that, you're able to put in. But I mean, I don't need to tell anyone watching this program, if you're a regular viewer or listener, about how good Josh Morrissey is. And it would be brutal if he actually is able to go, but they've come this far and can't do it. But I'm with you. I mean, I think it'll be
interesting. Yeah.
Tough job. The one thing I'll say, Reem, and I said this to Dusty when we were kind of nitpicking, this guy, who should be playing with who? At the end of it, I have full confidence in deferring to John Cooper, because the guy knows what the hell he's doing.
Yeah, and you're missing Crosby. And how are the lines going to shake out? And shout out to, I retweeted, this guy on X puts together the chart of the lines as I X out of Teemu Selanne, not happy with the officiating in the game house. I don't know if you saw this one on social media, but
no.
I'll go to this. They go to the lines. Here are they. And you had to wonder, okay, Tom Wilson, how is it working here with the top line? They moved Seth Jarvis. He didn't get a ton of time. That, it's listed as the third line on the lineup page, Marner, Suzuki, Stone. That was really the second line. And Sam Reinhart, basically a power play specialist. Hagel, didn't see a lot of him. And I thought he was really strong in the Four Nations. So, you're leaning on that top line. And they seemed to find a rhythm there as the game went on and just kept taking it to Finland over and over. And it seemed inevitable. And I've seen Finnish fans in our chat and online, including Teemu Selanne, saying, being the greatest hockey country in the world and the Canadian referees the same night is impossible. Or beating beating Canada and the referees, impossible. Embarrassing penalty, 90 seconds to go in the Olympic semifinal. What a joke. Angry emoji. It's funny, you have 2 Hall of Famers. You got Selanne and then Chris Pronger's like, I hear you, Teemu. But as well as I do, you cannot sit back for 30 minutes in this type of tournament and not expect bad things to happen. Just saying. Amazing. That's why the internet is so great, where you can have the conversation between 2 Hall of Fame players who've represented their country going back and forth. But
it's funny. The guy below that popping in was Rich Nairn, who, of course, was Jets 1.0 Scott Brown. And then went to Phoenix for all those years. So he jumped in on it as well. Obvious high stick, buddy. Offside was close and possible. You can't park the bus after being up 2-0, outshot 39-17. And that point that Rich makes there is well taken. I mean, Connor, I thought you on this stream made a great point that, Finland had a perfect first period. I mean, they were up at one point, 7-3 in shots. They converted on that power play in 2 seconds, which had to give them a big boost. And, it was relatively tight, and they weren't giving a ton of grade A's to a team that can usually create those at will. But then, you got into the second period, and after it being 7-3 in shots, you look up and it's 19-10 for Canada. And, they're spending another 45-second shift in the finish zone and another 45-second shift in the finish zone. And, obviously knowing the stakes and what they were, I think we said on the stream that they moved McKinnon up with McDavid and Celebrini just before the midway point of the game. I think there was 11 minutes left or something like that. But what was interesting with that is that also allowed Coop to put together that Florida line with Bennett and Marchand, and was it Reinhardt playing with those guys? And I mean, those players together, I thought they lived in the other team's zone. They really softened up the defense with some big hits. They were able to maintain that possession and then set it up to put the nuclear option on and see if they could make it happen.
Yeah, that was the thing, Huss. Like, Marchand was the one that kind of made contact with Saros right before that second goal. So he was wreaking havoc in the crease, and they decided not to challenge for goaltender interference. Saros did have enough time to reset and all of that. But look, like, when Canada was down 2-0 and down 2-1, they were spending all this time in the offensive zone. And you talk about that perfect first period for Finland. They clogged up the neutral zone better than I think we've seen any team clog up the neutral zone against Canada so far in this tournament in that opening 20. Canada was forced to dump the puck in. They weren't winning their retrievals, and Finland was just breaking the puck out, playing this low event game, and that's exactly what they wanted to do. And that was very evident after they went up 2-0. And the back 40 minutes of this game, like when the top line was out there with McDavid, McKinnon, Celebrini, they were generating offense. The rest of the lines were kind of just keeping it down in Canada's end. And obviously, Shea Theodore scored from the point with Marchand on the ice. So the depth did contribute. But to me, it just felt like, okay, let's hold the puck down in the offensive zone, maybe get a few shots, forecheck the crap out of this Finland defense. And then the McDavid line is going to come out there every single time we have an offensive zone faceoff, every single other shift. And I saw a graphic posted. Those three guys each played over 18 minutes of the final 40. And as you said, Huss, McKinnon was only put on the top line in kind of the midway point in the game. So those guys played a ton. Macar over 25 minutes. And I thought like Hagel and Tom Wilson, Marchand, Horvat, all of those guys, Bennett, did a really good job in forechecking and setting the table for that McDavid line to come on flying. And eventually Canada broke through.
Yeah, they did. And, Reem, I think we had a pretty good, it was so funny because Jake has the inert ability to
Unbelievable.
Reverse mush. I mean, gets mad at a guy. Reinhardt, what's he doing out there? Boom, 2-1. Saying the same thing about Sanheim. Sanheim over to Theodore, 2-2.
Well, no, he said Theodore also is not a needle mover for him earlier in the game, and then Theodore scored.
But it was, it was wild to see. But that was one of those games that, I did. Obviously, Jarvis and Hagel had less of a impact as the game went on, and they were really chasing it. Although I thought those guys were two of the best when the team was chasing and late in the Czech game. Mm-hmm. So, it's really hard to look right now at this team and not look at everybody that has been in this lineup having, their hand in these last two victories. I mean, it's obviously going to start with Connor McDavid and Macklin Celebrini, and to a lesser extent McKinnon, because he hasn't been with those guys the entire time. But in different situations at different times, everyone stepped up. And most importantly, when it was 2-0 and even 2-1, the guys that were out there for John Cooper when it wasn't the McKinnon, the super line, even if they weren't scoring, they were carrying the play. They were spending their time in the finish end. And, poor Timu had to sit back there. And, we've seen it before. In some ways, I guess you could probably make some comparisons to the women's game yesterday. And then you had a heavily favored team that was behind that you knew was going to get that push at some point, and unfortunately seemed somewhat inevitable. And certainly today, as the game went on deeper and deeper into the game, it felt like Canadian goals and a Canadian victory were still inevitable, even when they were in a pretty precarious position.
Yeah, one thing that gave me pause watching the game, it seemed like while Canada was getting a lot of shots, a lot of them were from the outside. And if you look at the chart here put out by IIHF, Canada's on the left. I mean, this is the first period. It was pretty even. In the second period, Canada's shooting on the right, but all their shots are from way out. And Saros, he's a pretty good goalie, and if he can see these, he's going to stop them. But again, like look at all the chances here on the left side in the third period. It was a barrage of shots, and a lot of them they're getting to the slot, and you're seeing Brad Marchand get in there. I mean, he had a nice chance. Nathan McKinnon in there, and it did seem inevitable when it was time. I thought it was going to go to overtime. I'm texting my wife who's at work, like, I don't know if you got the TV on there, but this game's about to go to overtime, and then they scored right after.
Yeah, nicely done. Listen, we're going to get to it. Mike McIntyre's kind enough to jump on with us. Just before we do that, folks, do not forget, tomorrow is the HSC Foundation Gala, which means right now you got to get in and get over to the website and get your bids in to join me at Aikens Lake this summer. It's givergy.ca/savor 2026. There's the fishing trip, and then all the other incredible prizes. There's a couple great Jets packages. There's some chef's tables. There's just some amazing things, and it all goes to help the very important work of the Health Sciences Center Foundation. So givergy.ca/savor 2026. The auction will be finished at the end of the gala tomorrow, so get those bids in. I would love to be with you coming up over at Aikens Lake this summer. There it is again, website at the top. We'll throw that into the chat as well. Get those bids in, and let's do it up big at Aikens this week. Have to thank our friends at Rolly's Transfer for their support of WST. Mike, it felt like Mike probably moved out to Milan, considering how long he's been there. If you've got a move coming up, go to rollies.com, click on request an estimate, use the promo code WST, and let them know when and where you're moving, what needs to go. They'll turn around with a great quote and get you set up with the white glove treatment that they've been famous for, now into their 7th decade. That's right, family owned and operated, the most trusted name in moving in Manitoba. Hit up rollies.com the next time you need it. And hey, I got to shout out Dr. Terry, who's in chat, was with us throughout the stream this morning, still here for the afternoon. The great people at St. Vital Dental Center, awesome supporters and sponsors of ours. If you need to get that smile taken care of, head on down to 167 St. Anne's Road. They got a beautiful new facility, state-of-the-art equipment, great staff, and convenient free parking right behind the building. And they got you covered for people from 6 months to 99 plus, cleanings, checkups, surgeries like dental implants. They do it all like they've been doing for generations of Winnipeggers and Manitobans over the course of the last number of decades. Go to stviteldental.ca, make an appointment, and tell them that the boys at WST sent you. All right, Mike McIntyre has been so kind with his time. And how could we not bring Mike on from Milan after another hard stopper for Team Canada? Mike's been doing incredible work all Olympics long in the Winnipeg Free Press and joins us once again just outside the rink. Mike, wow, it's never easy, but at this level, it's not supposed to be. How about that comeback win by Team Canada?
How's the blood pressure, gentlemen? I mean, nobody said it was going to be easy, right? Maybe some thought it might be when you looked at the lineup, but my goodness, this team likes to live dangerously. And, you know, they've flirted with, well, outright Olympic elimination 48 hours ago. And then they wouldn't have been eliminated with a loss, but it would have eliminated their hopes of a gold medal. That's for sure. So, yeah, this team, I mean, obviously you don't want to be playing from behind. That's suboptimal, but certainly tonight you had the sense, you know, I'm sure if Finland could go back and change some things, the way they tried to get the proverbial horse into the barn once they got up 2-0, like, and I'm not taking anything away from Canada. The Canadians certainly stepped on the gas and kept coming. But, you know, Finland, they got really passive. And it's like after that shorthanded goal, it's like they decided, okay, we got enough. We're going to try and win this game 2-0 or 2-1, where, you know, they were doing a lot of good things. And, you know, maybe if they kept coming and they get a third goal, it's game over. But, you know, they basically, it was wild to see, and I'm sure you would have seen this on the broadcast, Huss, but sitting up in the press box where we are, where you can, you know, really see how the players are moving around the ice. Like, they were basically playing with 3 defensemen in that whole third period. They would drop a one of their forwards back and stack 3 across the line. And it took Canada a little bit of time to sort of figure out how to penetrate that force field, if you will. But, they tilted the ice so much that it really did feel inevitable. And, Canada draws that late power play. And that's all because of the relentless pressure they were putting on the Finns. And you give those players that much time. I mean, I don't know how much more I can say about Macklin Celebrini, Huss. It's like he found another level tonight. That kid is absolutely something else. He's not a complementary part of a line with McDavid and McKinnon. He is every bit the driver on that line. And those 3 players, the way, the chemistry they found, their ability to move the puck, throw in a Macar on the back end, it's absolutely lethal. So, yeah, some close, tense moments, but what an atmosphere inside the rink. Largely Canadian fans. And, when they were down 2-0, you could hear a pin drop for a while in that building. But by the time Nate McKinnon scores that goal, I thought the roof was going to come off the building behind me.
Yeah, I'm with you, Mike. I mean, we did a fun watch-along stream this morning. We had a whole whackload of people in kind of sweating it out with us. And, I thought Connor made a great point. We came in and we were talking at the first intermission. He's like, that was the perfect start for Finland. Yeah. Absolute textbook first period. I mean, they were up 7-3 in shots. They had some good chances. I mean, it took all of 2 seconds to score and make Canada pay on the power play. And then they got away from it in the second period. Now, listen, I'll give a lot of credit to the Canadian team, who I think even ramped it up even more. But I was asked, is Canada slow starters? And I didn't necessarily think that they were slow. I just thought that they ramped it up when they needed to. And to your point, I thought Finland thought that they had what they needed, and that's an insane prospect to think against a team like Canada.
For 40 minutes. I mean, it's not like they went up 2-0 with 7 or 8 left in the game, and you thought, okay, maybe they can kind of hold on, if you will. 40 minutes or 36 or 37, whatever it is, after Eric Hollis scored that shorthanded goal. Yeah, I mean, I think the shots, Huss, I may be off by 1 or 2. I believe Canada outshot Finland 31-9 in the final 40 minutes. 31-9. And that's indicative of the way the play was. 3/4 of the game was spent in the Finnish end, but the first period wasn't like that at all, or the first few minutes of the second. So, Finland got away from doing what it does well, and Canada got back to doing what it does very well. And one of the areas I thought that Canada was really effective today, maybe more so than they were the other day against Czechia, is the way they utilize their defensemen. The guys were getting up into the play a lot more. And obviously Shea Theodore scores the tying goal. It was a great shot by him. But, give credit even to Travis Sanheim, who's kind of been the extra guy. He's the 7th defenseman here. And if Josh Morrissey was playing, it was healthy, he's probably not even in the lineup. But I thought Sanheim had his best game. He had a great chance. He had a great chance early where he set up Tom Wilson. And, he makes a nice play on the game tying goal. And, maybe there's something in the water in Manitoba. This is 2 straight games now that Manitobans have assisted on the dramatic tying goal in an elimination game. Seth Jarvis the other day, Travis Sanheim today. I actually I had great chats with both guys just a short time ago in the mix zone here about that quirky little fact. I'm going to write a little side story on the Manitobans. Also talk to them about Josh Morrissey.
Let's get to that, yeah. Mike. I mean, everyone in the chat's talking about it. I mean, we were thinking he'd be playing against the Czechs, and still no JMO. What's the latest?
Yeah, so let me be clear, because I've had a lot of people sort of ask about this. There is no circumstance that Josh Morrissey is a healthy scratch. I saw some people speculating maybe John Cooper doesn't want to break up a winning lineup, whatever. There's no question that John Cooper was planning to use Josh Morrissey in a big way in these Olympics. He played him over 7 minutes in the first period of the first game, and that was a sign of where they value and how they see Josh Morrissey. I don't know exactly what's going on with his injury here. All I can say is this. On Tuesday at practice here, before the quarterfinal, he was flying around the ice. I was watching him. Like, he looked great. And he spoke afterwards, and he said he felt good. John Cooper talked about how good he looked. Something has clearly changed. Either something didn't get better to the way that they thought it would, or perhaps in the other direction, maybe something's been re-aggravated or whatever. Because yesterday, Huss, at practice, Josh Morrissey was not as noticeable. And in fact, the big sign for me was that he left the ice kind of when the practice ended, didn't stay out. Lots of guys stayed out for extra work, work on things. And I thought it was a little odd that Josh Morrissey didn't, especially because he hadn't played, for, at that point, 3 games. I also requested to speak to Josh Morrissey yesterday, as I believe some others did as well, and he wasn't made available. So, some alarm bells started ringing that, maybe he's not as healthy as it looked like he was a couple days earlier. So, John Cooper, all he'll say is day to day. Is he a possibility for Sunday? Yes. Does that mean he's going to play? I have no idea. I thought he would have played Wednesday. Then I thought he was probably going to play today. And I do think, Huss, that if Josh Morrissey was 100% or very close to 100%, he would be in the lineup. Now, are you playing Josh Morrissey if he's 70%, if he's 80%? Maybe not. He's not Sidney Crosby. Like, if Sidney Crosby could have moved around the ice tonight, I suspect he would have dressed, even if it was in a more limited role. They would have found a way to get him in. Josh Morrissey, if he's not quite close to 100%, they probably do err on the side of caution and leave him out. So, all I can say is for Josh Morrissey personally, knowing that he missed the Four Nations final, that he's played 1 period at these Olympics, now Canada's off to the gold medal game. Personally, I'd love to see him in that lineup, and I think, most Winnipeggers and Jets fans and whatnot would have those sentiments as well.
Yeah, no doubt about that, Mike. Listen, while we're talking about banged up players, what have you heard about the captain, Sidney Crosby?
So it's interesting what Canada did this morning, Huss. And let me just say on the record, as a journalist, I hope this does not become the new norm in the NHL. The idea of a closed practice. I thought closed practices only happened, I think, once a week in the CFL, where teams do their walkthrough or whatever, and, they probably go over all their secret plays. The term closed practice, I'd never really heard it associated with hockey until I came here to Italy to cover these Olympics, because we've now had a few of them, and a few different teams have had them. Canada had a closed morning skate today, and I think the reason for that is because Sidney Crosby was going to test things out, and they didn't want all us nosy news types, reporting every stride and what it looked like. And so, from what I understand, they went above and beyond to try and find a way to get him in the lineup today. I think it might have been Elliot Friedman who said that they even looked at and did build some kind of special brace. You wonder, Huss, and I don't know the answer to this, like how much communication is happening back with the NHL club. And, Sidney Crosby, he's probably saying, like, if I can walk, if I can move, I want to play. Do the Pittsburgh Penguins feel the same way?
Well, Dubas is on the staff, so I'm sure he'll have he'll be very much on top of the situation. But at the same point, I don't think for a second that Kyle Dubas is going to say, hey, listen, on behalf of the Penguins, there's no way my guy can go out there. And frankly, I don't even think that he has the stroke to do that. We kind of spoke about this earlier when talking about Josh. Like, once these guys get to Milan and are members of Team Canada, they're playing for Team Canada, and the guys that are running Team Canada are calling the shots.
Well, and quite honestly, Huss, I think the guy really calling the shots with regards to Sidney Crosby is Sidney Crosby. Like, he, more than any other player, maybe with the exception of Connor McDavid. Like, he would be given all the latitude. And as I said earlier, like, you're not going to dress a Josh Morrissey at 75%. You would dress a Connor McDavid or Sidney Crosby, at 75%. Clearly, he's not there. Does 48 hours? It's not even quite 48. It's 46 hours because it's going to be at 2 p.m. This was a 4:30 p.m. start here in Milan. It'll be a 2 p.m. start Sunday. Does 45 and a half hours, it's more like 42 now, till puck drop. Does that buy him enough time? I have a hard time thinking that it would. Like, again, if they're talking about building a specialized brace, like, I got to imagine something is really wrong with his knee, leg, whatever it is. And as gutsy as he is, as much as he'd want to get in, I don't know. Do you dress him as a mascot if he can't play? Like, do you dress him as your 13th forward and he sits on the bench? It'll be interesting to see. But, a lot of people think this could be it for Sidney Crosby in terms of the Olympics. I'm not in that camp, by the way.
I'm with you.
We've saw it the Four Nations. We've seen it before he went down with injury. There is a hell of a lot of game left in that player. And I would not for a second discount him being on Team Canada in 2030 when they head to the French Alps.
Mike, thanks so much for doing this. I know you got to get back in. Just on the run, a quick thought on what you're about to watch, Slovakia, USA. Now all the pressure on the Yanks to finish the job and give the hockey world the matchup that we've been waiting for since last February in Boston.
So as much as there's a part of me, admittedly, that would probably love to see the U.S. team squirm a little bit and maybe get upset, the hockey fan in me, Huss, I need a Canada-U.S. matchup like I need oxygen. I just do. And I think I speak for the overwhelming majority of hockey fans, hockey writers. Like, we need Canada-U.S. Canada-Slovakia, okay, that'd be nice. That would not hit the same way at all. So, and obviously you want to see Connor Hellebuck from a Jets perspective play well. But, I suspect there's going to be a lot of Canada fans that are kind of biting their tongue, maybe swallowing the pride a little bit. And deep down, whether they want to admit it or not, they're going to be rooting for the Americans here just because of what it would set up. The ultimate battle. We got one hell of an appetizer at the Four Nations, but a battle between these teams for Olympic gold would be something else entirely. And I hope we get it. And I think we will get it. The Slovakians are a great story. They're probably going to make the U.S. work the way Czechia and Finland made Canada work. I do think ultimately the U.S. team finds a way here.
Yeah, I'm with you as well. I want Canada, USA. Although I said the same thing 2 days ago, and then I found myself watching the third period, and I was sort of naturally pulling for Sweden. But Let's face it, we came here for the true culmination of this tournament, Canada versus USA. We'll see whether we get it tonight. They've got work to do. Canada now sits back, puts a few ice bags on, and gets ready for it. Mike, thanks so much for everything this week. It's been so much fun. Just quickly fill people in on what you got cooking in the Free Press coming out of a huge win for Canada today.
Well, I'll have a full column on the Canadian win. I'll have a full column on the U.S. game. I've got a fun side story on the Manitobans and the roles they've played here. And then I've got a fourth piece coming up, big feature in tomorrow's Free Press. Kind of takes, I don't want to say it's a political story. It's not. It's a lot of color from 2 weeks on the ground here. Lots of fun observations from myself and others about, Canadian pride, Canadian patriotism, kind of in the current world climate that exists. I've got some fun anecdotes from things I've observed on buses and subways and at the Blues Canal, which has become the unofficial Canada House here. There is no official one, but it's been a gathering place for Canadians. Spoke to a lot of different Canadians on the ground here in Milan. So it's a really interesting feature that I think people will appreciate given the current times that we're living in. So yeah, that's the other piece.
You on the bird home on Monday?
I leave Monday afternoon. I get home Tuesday, yes, and then be taking a few days off. Weber has the Jets road trip next week, and I'll be catching up on some sleep. Reintroducing myself to Piper and Bodie and my own family, of course.
Yeah, it would be cruel and unusual punishment to force you to go watch the Jets Canucks on Wednesday after what you've been through right now. Hey, listen, thank you again for everything. Travel safely. Can't wait to read the paper tomorrow and enjoy what should be a good one this afternoon. And, of course, the main event Sunday morning for us here in the Peg.
Always great to touch base. Obviously, you have a lot of fun doing this. Us enjoy the rest of the hockey. Should be a great weekend here, and yeah, we'll talk again soon.
Good stuff. There's our guy Mike McIntyre of the Freep, and man, he's been doing we joke about how awesome it would be to get out there, which it would be, but man, you just see the amount of copy and the amount of work that he's been doing, and certainly earning the paycheck this week, and just so nice of him to come and join us the way he has throughout the Olympic Games. His colleague, the Hammer, Jeff Hamilton's going to join us a little bit later on in the program, but we're going to get into some more reaction from some of Team Canada. Connor's been hard at work putting that together, so we'll get to that in a few minutes. By the way, I was just looking into the chat, and one of the most famous names in the history of Winnipeg Sports Talk has reemerged. Did I see Oleg pop into the chat?
Oh, that's an imposter Oleg. I don't know if it's a real
Oleg WST.
Oleg.
Well,
the original Oleg is still banned, so I don't know if he's ever tried to come in. It's been like 5 years.
Well, but that was on you. I love Oleg, and I hope that this is the real Oleg that just, made a new account and is back in. So Oleg, take heat off. He even his comments remind me of the old Oleg. So Oleg, just don't run afoul of Commissioner Remis. Let's keep you in here. It is good stuff, and everyone else have fun in the chat. Turd, I know you're taking some heat for some terrible takes, but that's what happens when you bring terrible takes to the chat. You get heat.
Yeah,
those are those things.
Well, Turd's in the chat saying, calling Josh Morrissey a baby for not suiting up while Crosby is seemingly doing everything possible to play in the game. I mean, I don't know what Josh Morrissey's injury is. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes for him to play. I don't know how you could. I guess that's what the internet is, where you come in with the most definitive take, like you're 100% right, like you know everything. But how can you say that?
That's the dumbest
what's
thing
going on?
I've ever heard.
How
you
can
don't
you
think
say
that he wants to play? Come on. I mean, let's. As I said, we won't spend any more time on that because it's absurd. Listen, Connor's going to get back in here. We're going to hear from some of the players. I do want to thank our friends over at Princess Auto for their support of WST. I know there'll be a lot of happy Princess Auto employees at the game 7 a.m. on Sunday, and they'll be locked and loaded for it. Of course, Princess Auto is synonymous with Winnipeg, founded and headquartered right here. And, of course, also the home of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, Princess Auto Stadium. Head on down to Princess Auto for the best deals and the most unique assortment of tools and equipment around. Everything you need to complete the projects on your list or start something new. Waiting for your local Princess Auto. 2 Winnipeg locations, 1 in Brandon. And as always, you can shop online 24/7, 365 over at princessauto.com. Saw Schnitzy last night. He's fired up. He and his crew are heading down to Uptown Alley on tomorrow for a great time with the family. If you haven't checked out Uptown Alley at 1301 St. Matthews, you are missing out. It is an absolute blast to get together with, whether you got kids, teens, or adults. You'll be spending your time on their dozens and dozens of 5-pin bowling lanes. They've got 10-pin bowling. They got laser tag. They've got a state-of-the-art arcade. and amazing food and beverage options, as you're seeing right there on the screen. 488-000 to make a reservation. You can go to uptownalley.ca. They've got great daily specials, the bowl and play after 9 p.m. each and every night. And if you're thinking about a group or corporate outing, you just let them know what you're planning, the activities you want to do, what you want to eat or drink, any add-ons, and their event staff will take care of all the rest of it. So get on over to Uptown Alley this weekend and plan an event there and go online to uptownalley.ca. Got to shout out our friends at Manitoba Battery. How about that boost that Team Canada got from that goal in the second period? We still have a little bit of winter left, hopefully not that much. But if your battery is a little iffy right now, free battery testing at both local Manitoba Battery locations. And if you need a new one, you'll be able to shop local and get the best price in town, period. As Donnie always says, why waste time and, more importantly, waste money at the big box stores when you can shop local and save big at Manitoba Battery? And it's not just for your car or truck, but we'll be getting your sled from Chud's Power Sports or your boat coming up for this summer. They've got batteries for literally everything at the best prices in town. Hit them up online as well, manitobabattery.com. Citywide delivery available inside the perimeter of the city of Winnipeg. And hey, you know what? I also want to remind you, just before we get to the clips from the team, about getting your tickets for the St. B Mega Million Choices Lottery. We've got just over about a week and a half before the early bird deadline. Now, if you get your tickets before midnight on March 5th, you'll be in for another $280,000 worth of prizes. 2 early bird winners will have the choice between 2 incredible trucks, a Chevy Silverado EV or a 2026 Ford F-150 Lightning Platinum, both over $115K, or a $100,000 Fair Connect travel voucher and $20,000 cash, or just take $100K US tax-free. There's also going to be 25 winners of an Apple iPhone 17 or Samsung Galaxy S25 Plus, or $1,000 cash. And of course, everyone is in for the grand prizes, which include your choice of one of 5 $1.5 million dream home options, or $1.25 million cash, tax-free. And it's all in support of the great work of the St. Boniface Hospital. Head on over to stbmegamillionchoices.ca to get your tickets. Again, stbmegamillionchoices.ca. Count yourself in. And if you do want to pick up your tickets in person, you can do that at your local Red River Co-op location or London Drugs. All right, let's get to some of the feedback of the coaches and the players. We'll start off with the coach, John Cooper. Obviously, his team got it done, although it certainly wasn't easy coming back from that 2-0 deficit. Here is the post-game comments of Canada's head coach, John Cooper, from Milan.
Well, there's belief, and I think I said the other day there's a quiet calm amongst the group, and I think they were a little choked. We gave up 2 freebies, one off a face-off that, to a world-class player buries it, and then we give up a shorty. So now we're down 2 against a team that is known for their defense. So it was the message was we couldn't get them all back in one shift. We got to chip away. Big one by Sam. Now we're down by 1. Go to the room, kind of regroup. Felt we leaned on them in the second. I thought we took a bit out of them. And the big thing is, we kind of restructured our lines a little bit. And, Benny, Willie, and Marchie, that's a little snarl in that line, did all the things that those type of players do. And they get the tire. But I think there was, they didn't wait so long this time. So now it's 9.5 left. And we just didn't want to change our game. We didn't want to sit back and say, take a breath, because we tied it. And fortunately drew the penalty, and big boys took over.
So thoughts on putting that line together? Highly usable. You used them right to the very end there. What worked there?
Everything. They're intimidating. They can play with pace. I don't think, when a puck's dumped in a corner, I don't think anybody's choosing which one they want to hit them and get in there, and they create space for themselves. And when they got kind of a shot scramble attitude going on there, they're not afraid to go to the net front. I thought that was something that we could have done better, in front of Saros, because he's such an exceptional goalie, but they did there and took his eyes away and scored. So they earned it. They deserved to play.
What can you tell us right now about the possibility for Sid to be available for the gold medal game?
Well, he's got much more of a chance of playing in the gold medal game than he did today.
Okay, thank you.
All right, John Cooper, always a little coy, but we'll take that. A much better chance of playing on Sunday than he did today. And listen, let me hit Connor with this one. Connor, I'm just thinking about, the boost that they got today, bouncing back. Imagine the boost that this team will have, regardless of who comes out of this afternoon's game, if 87 rolls up with that team with the C back on his sweater for a gold medal matchup.
There's no bigger boost, Huss. Both in the lineup, of course, it's Sidney Crosby still playing at such a high level, despite being 38 years old. And yeah, I think Connor McDavid was asked about it after, where, he was wearing the C today and he was asked what that was like. And he said, I'm just keeping it warm for Sid. So I do think that, Sid apparently addressed the team at the second intermission of the Czechia game. And there was a common sentiment amongst the group, like, we don't want to make this Crosby's last game. And I think for this game too, if John Cooper is going to be coy with his comments and leave the door open and say he's got a better chance of playing in the gold than he did today, I think those would have been the pregame comments. Like, hey, if we win today, we're going to get Sid back for the gold, or we're going to have a much better chance of getting Sid back for the gold. And I think that is something that probably motivated the group big time. So even for this game, without having Crosby, the motivation of potentially getting him back probably pushed Canada today. And then if they do get him back, I think that whole team would lie on the train tracks for that guy wearing the C on his chest in a gold medal game of what could be his last Olympics. Not doubting him, but could be.
No, 100%. And listen, I think that, if he's not able to play, winning it for Crosby will be just an extra boost. Not that you need any when you're playing for a gold medal at the Olympic Games. Let's get into a little bit more from the team and the players. And Nate McKinnon ended up being the hero with the OT winner. Moved up, playing with the dominant twosome of McDavid and Celebrini for basically the second half of the game. Here's what the Nate Dog had to say about Canada's big win.
Yeah, we stayed calm, and the whole bench was pretty mellow. Obviously, it sucks. We don't want to be losing, but that's the reality. We felt like we were kind of taking over the game in the second period. We were playing really well. You're not going to score. You don't know when it's going to come, but it did. And, great plays by a lot of great guys, great players.
Take us through that power play. Sorry to interrupt you. Did it feel like it was coming there? You guys had tons of possession and just waiting for the look?
Yeah, we had some good looks. Other than my rim out of the zone wasn't great. Connor was doing his thing, making things happen for everybody else, and I'm happy it squeaked in.
You guys are playing for a gold medal, Nate. Just maybe a thought on that and how that feels.
Yeah, it's a blessing. I mean, it's bigger than ourselves. It's for our country, for this jersey, and hopefully we can get it done.
All right, there's McKinnon. He's a psycho. I mean, he is so focused. Like, he's talking about I had a bad rim in there. And of course, he's focusing on the one thing that he didn't do right after scoring the winning goal in an Olympic semifinal. But Connor, that's a big part of the reason that he has been so driven. He's made him the player that he is, made him the Stanley Cup champion. I think a big reason, after the bad taste he had in his mouth last year, that the Avalanche have been the class of the NHL all year.
100%. And I was scrolling Twitter while Mike was on, kind of listening to his commentary, but there was a video of after the offside review and the ref comes out and says it's a good goal. There's a shot of McKinnon and McDavid on the bench, and everyone around them pops up and their hands go up, and McKinnon and McDavid are just like stoic,
They're
no reaction,
flatliners,
nothing.
man.
Yeah, like that's just who they are. Yeah, obviously Nathan McKinnon is going to focus on his bad rim in on the power play when he scored with 35 seconds left. Like these guys are psychotic. The winning drives them more than anything, and they know the job's not finished. They know that the expectation is gold. They're going to play for gold. They know that there's still 35 seconds left in the game when even that goal went in and after the review and all of those things. So yeah, just classic Nathan McKinnon, and him and McDavid both sitting there on the bench just not reacting at all was hilarious to me, because that's just so McDavid and McKinnon like. These guys are driven by nothing but results.
We're just about to hear from Macklin Celebrini, who I was seeing. I didn't catch who it was. Said he was the best player on the ice tonight. And I mean, McDavid was McDavid, but listen, Celebrini is right there. And like you said earlier, I mean, he's not just hanging on the coattails of Connor McDavid. He's blazing his own trail right now. 8 shots in the game. He still leads the Olympics in goals going into the gold medal game with 5. Nate McKinnon now has 4. But for this afternoon's game, it's going to tip off in just a minute. Just going to take a quick look at Coolbet. Yeah, the United States, a massive favorite, minus 1178. Slovakia. If you think Slovakia is going to win, plus 750. You win $150 off of 20. I jumped on Slovakia plus 2.5 at plus 121. I think this will be a closer game than I think maybe some do expect, but I do think that the USA will win the game. Canada right now, minus 140 to win the gold. USA plus 120. So we'll get to the lines a little later on, but that game's about to get going in just a couple of minutes. So here's the kid, the phenom himself, Macklin Celebrini, with his post-game comments.
Yeah, I think just confidence. I feel like we were getting a lot of chances, and I mean, we were doing all the right things. It was just a matter of time.
What do you say about Nathan McKinnon? I mean, he's clearly working through some stuff, but playing a ton, and that's a huge goal.
Yeah, I mean, clutch. I mean, that goal, we needed so bad. We had a couple looks there, and I mean, count on your big dogs and one of the best players in the world to bear it.
Felt pretty confident the whole way through as a group, would you say?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think we were getting chances, we were getting looks, it just wasn't going in, so I thought we had a lot of confidence.
You know, he's just so incredible. Remember earlier on in the year when there were plenty of people that said that, well, you know, he'll get his time at some point, but this was way too early for Celebrini to really be considered on the Olympic team. I mean, credit to him that he basically gave them no choice by the time we got to New Year's. But, I mean, he has been probably the story of the Canadian team up until this point of the games.
Yeah, I think it was fair to say that, you know, coming into the year, but when you look at the way the scoring leaders are in the NHL right now, he's 4th in the league, and it doesn't really matter, you know, how old he is. He's good enough to be on this team. He's good enough to play the most minutes, not just of the forwards, of anyone. And I did see someone put out that he played, like I think it was Chris Johnson said, in the final 2 periods, so that's 40 minutes, he played like 1949. I mean, that's half the game. Every second shift, when you have a team built of all-stars, how much they're relying on this guy. He's got the young, he played 1802 of the final 40. He's got the young legs. He's got a shot. He's got a nose for the net. He goes in the corner. There he is, 1802 of the final 40 minutes. So incredible stuff here that we're seeing. And yeah, he played his way. He earned every opportunity. And as you mentioned, you know, if they continue to have NHL players at the Olympics, he's only 19. How many is he going to get into if he continues at this level? Yeah,
it just put him on the top line for Canada for the next 4 more Olympics, and then let me know who's going to be playing with him. Celebrini still leads, as I mentioned, with the goals. Had 8 shots on goal today, and he already has a top 5 shot in the NHL. And use it a lot. I mean, credit to UC Saros for making the saves under siege for the better part of the last 2 periods and keeping Celebrini off the scoreboard. But once again, he's got 2 points. And you know what's incredible about this is that, you know, McDavid just broke the all-time Olympic record for points, which was 11 going into these games. Celebrini's got 11 now for the tournament. So Celebrini, outside of McDavid this year, has equaled the greatest offensive performances in Olympic hockey history at only 19 years old. Far from 19, but definitely playing a big role today was Brad Marchand. And we were talking about those Florida guys. I think I mixed him up with Reinhart earlier, but Marchand and Bennett and Tom Wilson playing together were a menace later on in the game. Here's what Marchand had to say about the big semifinal win for Team Canada.
Big for the group.
Yeah, I think it's great for our confidence to know that we can come back in situations, but we already believe that. It's great when you go and do it, and it definitely brings the group closer together, but it really doesn't have any bearing on the game tomorrow, or the next game. All you can do is leave it all out there in these one-off games. I mean, it could be a bounce, it could be a missed call, so it's just you got to be really dialed in and believe in what you can do, and we definitely have that in our room.
John was looking for it with the lines a little bit. He ends up going with you and Wilson, Bennett together. Yeah. What were you guys kind of saying to one another, and what did it mean to you to be so used right to the very end here?
Yeah, obviously you just got to do your job when you're out here, and I think we know when we're together we just got to get on the forecheck and try to create some energy for the group and do whatever we can to get ozone face-offs, create a little momentum in our way, try to make it harder than their D, and it was great to chip in there tonight, but obviously the big boys did the job at the end.
Did you feel, especially the first 40 minutes, it was tough to go to the
40
slot?
minutes?
The first 40?
No, I felt we kind of took over after the 5-minute mark of the second period. They scored a goal off a bounce on the PK, but we played a good game. We felt like it was going to come just on how we played, but they push. I mean, they're such a good team, and they compete so hard. And you see, like, it doesn't take them much to score. They're very opportunistic and very dangerous.
There is Brad Marchand of the Florida Panthers. Now, one more player who I thought, particularly late in the game, kind of felt like he was maybe going to score, certainly a huge part of Canada's power play, played a ton. And that, of course, is Cale Makar, who was the young phenom out of college before Macklin Celebrini was, but wasn't 19 when he did it. Here's what Makar had post-game after the big semifinal win.
It's a feel-out process. The first time you have adversity as this team, and then the amount of confidence that you get when you go through something like that as a group is immense. And for us tonight, I never even questioned it. You're just so in the moment, and you trust all those guys to do their job out there. And as long as you do your job, it's everybody's going to find a way. So just happy we got it done.
You stayed confident, but how tough was it? Because the Finns played a pretty solid game.
Yeah, again, they played a great game. Give them credit. They found ways to clog it up and get the pucks out of our top guys' hands. I felt like they did a great job, and I think, again, once we started opening things up, it just started with our skating, retrieving pucks, getting pucks in, and then joining the rushes D as well. And all the little things that make a difference in games like this, it just amplified that much more as we continue on this journey here. So
I started with Nate. I mean, he's clearly pushing through some stuff, but played a ton of minutes and then comes up with that huge moment. I mean, I guess you know him well.
Yeah. I guess I could say he keeps impressing me. It's pretty spectacular, but for me, it's nothing new, really. I don't know if it's just expecting those things of it, if I've gotten just so content with that. But no, it's amazing to see him in his spots like that and get the puck and then obviously make amazing plays like that as well. So it's fun to watch from the top when Davo and him do their thing. So
what does it feel like to be playing for a gold medal?
Yeah, it's exciting. I don't think it's fully processed yet. I think this one's just great right now. I think what we want to do, put ourselves in the best spot possible. I'm feeling good as a group going into that, whatever was our final game, and now we put ourselves in a great spot to potentially win it all. So we're just going to go out there, do the best we can, and hopefully make our nation proud. So.
All right, so there is Cale Makar. Now, it's been sort of all over the place, but let's get to the clean line lines ahead of Sunday's gold medal game. Of course, when we talk about the lines during jet season, as well as now for the Olympics, we do it for Clean Line Plumbing, Heating, and Electrical, your one-stop shop with over 40 years of experience and the leaders in Winnipeg residential and commercial plumbing, heating, and electrical services. Our friends at Cleanline have you covered 24/7, 365 with emergency services when you need it. So mark the number down, 204-500-2001. That's 204-500-2001. When you need them in a jam, Cleanline is there for you. You can also check them out online at cleanline.ca. So here's how things ended against Finland, and wouldn't be surprised if this is the way things look up front when the puck drops early on Sunday morning. The Nate McKinnon, moved up to play with McDavid and Celebrini. That was the nuclear option. Down 2-0, they went that. There obviously is the option to potentially put McKinnon back, but at this point, would not be surprised if they just start this way. Nick Suzuki taking Sidney Crosby's spot in between Mitch Marner and Mark Stone. I would imagine that will stay the same. And I don't know about you guys, but how do you move Wilson and Marchand off of Bennett's line against the United States? I mean, that seems like a line that will go and challenge. Now, as we said earlier, I wouldn't be surprised, maybe depending on what the USA comes out with, if Wilson does do some shifts with McDavid and Celebrini, just, with the Kachucks and some of the BS that the U.S. will bring at them. But don't be surprised if we see a lot of McDavid with, or a lot of McKinnon with McDavid and Celebrini, and a lot of Wilson, Bennett, and Marchand. And that leaves 4 players for 3 spots on that final line. Bo Horvat in the middle. I think we saw the majority of times with Winnipeg Seth Jarvis and Brandon Hagel on the wings. And then Sam Reinhart. And listen, Reinhart scored the first goal for Canada. He was also the lowest ice time player for Canada in the game at just over 6 minutes. So game score and where they're at will certainly depend on it. But I do think they really like the reliability and the checking of Jarvis and Hagel along with Horvat. Obviously, no big changes right now with the defense. We did see Harley and Doughty play together, but there was a lot of Harley. We saw a little more Theodore today. Travis Sanheim had a strong game. The top pairing, though, still continuing to play the most minutes with Taves and Macar. There are your lines heading into Sunday's game, brought to you by Cleanline Plumbing, Heating, and Electrical, the official plumbing service of the Winnipeg Jets. All right, we're going to have much more on this. Hammer's going to join us. We got a couple marble races to get to a little later on. We'll also get to the Cool Bet lines and keep an eye on what's happening in the game between the United States and Slovakia. But Remis, we have some breaking news about the UFC coming to Winnipeg. I got to give a shout out to our guy, Big Maple, who I know was in chat. He DM'd me about this last night, and I was following up with Aaron Bronstetter. We got a moved card that's coming to the Peg. Fill us in.
Yeah, first time since 2013. It was a fight night. UFC coming to Winnipeg, and they're going to have a headliner with a Canadian guy, Mike Malott. That's the brother of former Manitoba Moose and frequent guest of this program, Geoff Malott. So April 18, Saturday night, Burns versus Malott. This is a UFC fight night at Canada Life Center. And register right now for interest, UFC.com/Winnipeg. Tickets on sale Friday, March 6th. Pretty cool that we're going to have an event like this here. I heard it was going to be in Ottawa, this UFC event, but maybe they didn't like the arena or the location, or maybe think they're going to be in the playoffs. I don't know, but either way, it's coming here. Very exciting to have this type of event back in Winnipeg.
I can't help but think that the April 18th date was originally held.
It's like
I guess he may as well.
Opening weekend of the NHL playoffs.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that what it is? Oh, no.
Yes, that's what it is. And it's wide open for Canada Life Center.
I think there's now a little bit more availability on Kevin Donnelly's list with the booking, considering where the Jets stand in the in the standings, unfortunately. But yeah, this will be great. I mean, Winnipeg has been hosted. I guess has there been 2 UFC events?
Yeah,
there was the first one that was like a numbered card, and everyone got hurt. And it was like whatever. And then there was a UFC Fight Night event. Robbie Lawler was on that one, if I recall correctly.
I went to both of those. So the one that was here, numbered card, it was Rashad Evans and Dan Henderson. Every fight went to a decision, and the joke was the only knockout was some guy in the crowd who got stretchered off.
There's always a couple of those.
It was a rough event, and yes, the other one, it was UFC on Fox 26, Lawler and Dos Anjos, and I remember there were some crazy knockouts. I'm trying to remember who it was, but it was, there was some crazy ones. Was it Josh Emmett won by a knockout? I see Glover Teixeira won by a knockout. Some finishes there. I see a guillotine finish, couple decisions. I mean, that's going to happen, but I remember this event was much better than the other one.
Yeah, despite it being a Fight Night card. So this is going to be UFC Winnipeg. I imagine they'll probably put a bunch of Canadian fighters on the card, which they usually do north of the border. But proper Mike Malott headlining the card. We'll be there cheering for Mike, that's for sure. And now I'm kind of hoping that the Kings miss the playoffs.
Oh.
So Geoff can get back here, can come on WST, and be a part of his brother fighting in the rink that really was his springboard to becoming an NHLer. That's kind of one thing that, we'll definitely after the season try and get him on. He was a favorite of ours when he was playing for the Moose. Was such a great interview. He's quietly really established himself as a regular, Remo, and we all recall when the Kings were in town last taking on the Jets, he was playing on the top line.
Yeah, and he had a pretty good number to score, and he had multiple chances to do it that night, score against his former team. There has been a run of that going against the Jets. Couldn't quite get it done. But yeah, nice to see him. And you think of guys moving on from the Jets, Moose organization, who've latched on NHL roles. Mikey Asimont, another one who's played a good role on a number of teams now. But Jeff Malott was a great guest on this program, and his brother, a big UFC, would always talk about how they'd watch the fights after games in the locker room. Well, Mike Malott's coming here to drop one. I'm not sure if you guys are following. Teemu Selanne losing his mind on X.
Oh, can
right
we get
now.
Fire him up? Fire him up. Let's see
about the officiating, and I'm loving the NHLers clapping back at him. Maxime Lapierre says it was a high stick, wasn't it? And then Teemu's just losing it. And I got to get the comments from Saros and Yoel Armia. Apparently the Finns not happy. I guess Marchand pushed into Saros there, debatable or not. Oh, here's
before that goal. I mean, he did. Although, I mean, looking back and again, I mean, there's no unbiased in this. I mean, you're either Canadian or you're not Canadian.
There's no unbiased take here. Yeah.
I mean, this is the same thing, when we're talking about, the same sort of thing happened with the Jets in Florida and it was Brad Marchand. We'd be going, that's bullshit, whatever. But it did look like Saros was there, ready, completely squared up on that shot. So here's Teemu. This is translated from Finnish. This is great. There's an unwritten rule in games at this level. During the last minutes in overtime, they just put the whistle in their pocket and only blow it for a murder. I don't like the fact that 2 Canadian referees are officiating Canada's semifinal game, even though they otherwise actually did referee really well. And then Alphonse says, Timo, don't make it worse. The refs did a correct job. Timo, it is funny, winning and having everyone just talk about the referees. Now you guys know how Chiefs fans felt over all those Super Bowls. That's just what happens. When you win, there's a lot of people that can't accept the fact that they weren't able to beat you. And then they talk about the referees. Canada was the better team today. I don't think that is at all up for discussion.
We have the graphic here. I mean, the stick's around McKinnon's neck. I mean, that's
he gets hit with a high stick. There's no doubt about that. He does do the whole head snap back. Oh my goodness, I've just been, he
was raising awareness.
Two-handed.
Of the high stick.
He does get high sticks though.
You have to do that. They don't see it if you don't do that. If you just take it and just keep going, no one knows what happened. So that's what they teach you in practice. If you get hit in the face,
maybe don't spend 40 minutes in your own zone, the entire back 2 periods of the game, and you won't take a penalty at the end of it. I don't know.
All these, I'll listen, and all these European, these are soccer nations. I mean, what are we doing here? I mean, why is this a surprise? He was high-sticked in the head. There was a whiplash on the play. He made sure the referee saw it, and they correctly called it. Canada earned themselves a power play. If you don't want to get called, here's one for you. Don't hit a guy in the head with your stick. Easy. Problem solved.
Easy. Oh, man.
I'm sure we'll have some more from the old X machine as the fallout comes up from this game. Dylan Larkin scored for the States, and it is 1-0 right now for USA over Slovakia. And Charlie McAvoy's going to the penalty box, and guess what? Doesn't like the call. When was the? I mean, it's happening everywhere, folks. People not liking penalties that are being called. Listen, we're gonna get Jeff Hamilton jumping on in just a minute. But let me throw out the why not question of the day right now for Not Autocorp at Waverly and McGillivray to all of you in the chat. Who was your standout player for Canada today? So many guys had a piece of that win. You had some unique goal scorers. Obviously, Jordan Binnington, I thought, was right there. I mean, so many members of the defense stepped up. Let us know in the chat for the why not question of the day for Not Autocorp. Who was your player of the game today for Team Canada? Let us know in the chat. All right. The stage is set, gang. Sunday morning, 7 a.m. or 7:10, I think. But 7 o'clock or thereabouts, your local Boston Pizza is going to be opening. Now, this is not a game. This is too big of an event. It happens once every 4 years. This is when you get together with your crew and you have a heck of a time. I know they were doing some special breakfast pizzas. The taps will be on. And so make plans to get out to your local BP. Just looking, 7 a.m. for the gold medal game. Winnipeg BPs will be doing it. Also for our friends in Selkirk, Steinbach, and Morden stores. Gold medal viewing party at your local Boston Pizza. So make your plans accordingly. Get up early and get ready to watch the game with a whole bunch of fired up hockey fans in a great atmosphere at your local Boston Pizza. And listen, if you've been sleeping on getting those jerseys, hats, hoodies, and more, you better be ready for the weekend. Get down to Royal Sports right now. Obviously, it's been incredibly busy. They've had a run on Celebrini jerseys. I know Connor picked up a Celebrini, as did our pal Ritz Kraka, Carter Chen. But Royals got it all. And they're numbering them up probably as we speak right now with more of them. So head on down to Royal Sports, 750 Pembina Highway, and get geared up for gold. Jerseys, hats, T-shirts, you name it. If it's Canada and Canada's Olympic team, Royal has it right now. There's Carter, Winnipeg celebrity and socialite with his Olympics Celebrini jersey, and you know that'll be on for Sunday morning. Royal, 750 Pembina Highway. There's some more of just what they've got going on at Royal. Check them out online on their Instagram page for more of this at Royal Sports Winnipeg over on IG. All right. You know, it's funny. We did the watch party stream this morning, which blew our minds with how many people came in on that. That was, shattered our expectations. So thanks again to everyone that joined. We will have a special marble race for everyone that was on the stream for the Jet tickets, first row behind the bench for the Jets Avalanche game, as well as the Coolbet prize package before our regular marble race. But I did see Tyson Tico Napoli, the rest of the gang. I know Tyson was enjoying a few 1919s around 9:40 a.m. when we got going. Speaking of 1919, you better stock up for the weekend in the gold medal game. Let's give a big cheers to our friends at Winnipeg's favorite local brewery, Little Brown Jug.
You train day in and day out, learning new techniques, approaching new concepts, and living out the thrill of achieving your goals. Building a craft beer is no different. While you spend your hours on the ice, we spend ours here, brewing our trademark beer. Again, and again. Here's to pushing the status quo and challenging ourselves to build something memorable. 1919 by Little Brown Jug.
All right, we're going to bring in the hammer right away. By the way, shout out to MMA Insider, Big Maple. He just dropped a super chat. Thanks, Maple. And he hits me with winners all the time for the UFC. So he's got a cool bet UFC promo parlay for tomorrow. Edwards, Correa, and Hernandez on money line at plus 137. He'll be on X and Discord tonight, tomorrow with more to drop. LFG, right on. Big Maple, I'm riding with you. I always do. I love it. Appreciate you, buddy, and thanks for that tip. Speaking of UFC, after Maple hit me up, I sent a message to my pal Aaron Bronstetter, and we'll get Aaron on next week to talk about how this happened and set up the card for Winnipeg. So we'll look forward to having Aaron on the program. All right, we don't have to wait any longer. Let's welcome in Jeff Hamilton. Hammer was popping in the stream this morning, sweating it out with all of us and everyone coast to coast. They got it done. How are you feeling after another white knuckle ride for Team Canada in this tournament that has been just so awesome?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good about Canada's chances. I mean, certainly during that game, that confidence dipped up and down. I feel like Czechia was a harder, I think that was more of a heart racing game than this one, despite obviously kind of going down 2 goals, including that shorthanded one that just, I don't know if there was a single person in our country that wasn't incredibly frustrated watching that sequence of events. But yeah, I mean, Finland's a good team. They play great defensively. We all know how good UC Saros is between the pipes. So yeah, it was a little bit tense, but once they tied that goal up, when Shea Theodore hit Twine, you kind of felt like, okay, it's much like you felt with, unfortunately, with the Americans on the women's side when they tied that game up. I had a very similar feeling for the Canadians after they tied it up that they were going to get it done. And I hoped obviously, with the rest of the nation that they would get it done in regulation. But after that goal, I felt like there was enough time to get it done. Obviously, they score super late, and and I guess a bit of a controversial penalty in the sense of when it occurred, not actually the action probably, but yeah, I mean, Canada gets it done, and here we are, Huss, setting up what we hope to be a very interesting gold medal game here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, listen, the U.S. is up right now, though they are killing a penalty. This has been building since last February, and the one game winner takes all nature of the Olympics is so special. You combine it with the best on best rosters that we've been waiting for since Sochi to be part of this game. Like, even though I know there's not a single person watching this that wants the USA to win the gold medal, it would be a bit of a buzzkill if it wasn't Canada USA in the game.
Yeah, same way as it would have been a buzzkill if Canada never got it done in the semis too, right? Like
100%.
Everybody is waiting. We know there's other nations outside of North America here that are good hockey units and that are going to push for it. But everybody, given the political climate on both sides of the border, given the names on both teams, right? These are about as NHL as they get for the two teams, right? So. We're all familiar with the other side's players. There's to your point, Huss, there's the drama that's been building since Four Nations final and that tournament in general. So, yeah, I think, absolutely it would be a letdown. I mean, the ultimate letdown, of course, would be Canada not competing. I think Canada, certainly the pressure isn't off them right now, but I do think it's lessened to a certain degree, the fact that they'll, at worst be claiming a silver medal. But we all know it's gold or bust in this country. But certainly, again, with everything that's been going on with, every time Canada and US is mentioned in the same sentence with hockey, it comes with this tone of animosity and ultimately, factors that are playing out outside of the ice surface. So yeah, everybody's looking for it, and the stakes get that much higher when it's Canada and US because, while gold medals at stake here, bragging rights, Huss, feels as equally as delicious to get as a gold medal. So, you're going to hear it from our neighbors to the south. If it does turn out to be a US Canada final, you're going to hear it from them, if they win, especially after earning the gold on the women's side. So this is, there's a lot at stake here, and Canada's punched their ticket. It's now up to the US to live up to their end of the deal and set up what will be a very much talked about game throughout the weekend until puck drop on Sunday.
Yeah, you talk about the political climate, which is not great right now. I still feel, and maybe it was because I was there, that it was a lot hotter then. That was right in the middle of all the 51st state bullshit that's, not really around as much anymore, even though things are obviously not very good at the state level between, our leaders and all that. But just from a hockey perspective, this rivalry, I know someone said in the chat the other day, Canada-Russia is the great rivalry. Listen, maybe if you're 85, but for the last 20, 25 years, it has been Canada and the United States. And obviously the women have taken it to another level, with their rivalry, and that has been just a constant. But this generation of U.S. players has been trying to beat Canada, and then they didn't have the opportunity for a while, and they sort of feel that they're ready. And they've got a star-studded lineup that, as I say, I know some people would be like, hey, Stonewall Dave said, you're crazy, Huss. It would not be a big deal if we got a Canada-Slovakia gold medal game, and we'd still be watching it. We'd still want to win. But let's face it, for the event, for the juice of the matchup, for the bad blood, for the rivalry, everything, Canada-USA, assuming that it happens on Sunday, will be one of those games I think we will always remember, win or lose, where you were, who you were with, and listen, that is what sports is all about. Let me ask you this, Hammer, about the Scott Johnson said this, and we just were playing a bunch of tweets from Teemu Selanne, who said the referees were otherwise great, but there's a unwritten rule that late in the game you can't call anything unless someone murders someone else. And Scott goes, I hate when referees decide a critical game. We've all watched NHL playoff games that were tied where the referees put their whistle away. If the call was against Canada, fans would go crazy. I kind of disagree with that in that, we've watched a ton of playoff hockey. There's been a ton of calls late in games, calls in overtime. Over the past number of years, there was a time where literally they refused to call things. But I don't feel that that's the case right now. And with the skill that we've got, the reason why the game is in such a great place is because we actually call the rule book. Do you think the Finns got a raw deal? Or listen, you don't want to spend the time, don't commit the crime, regardless of when it is.
Huss, you can show people today a video. Okay, you can show people a video and you can get two opposite opinions.
Yeah, that's true.
So we live in a world where a lot of people out there just want to have their own opinions reaffirmed, right? They want to have their own team taken care of. So I kind of agree and disagree at the same time. I think certainly what's true, we can say this, Huss, if there was a similar penalty called against Canada, and it was Finland who took a 3-2 lead here, this interview would be a very different interview. The question would be, we would not be talking about how Team Canada it's just part of the game and they deserve that or whatever. We talk about exactly what you're talking about. That in the final minutes of a game, whether it's playoffs, whether it's the Olympics, high stakes hockey, let's call it, often it means putting the whistles away. Now, am I disagreeing with the call? No. Would I have disagreed with the call had it been Canada on Finland? No. But I'm an objective observer. for the most part. Like, I mean, but as far as how the public is going to react, I mean, this is the world we live in today. Like, there are going to be people who vehemently disagree with that call, and there's going to be people who are saying it's the obvious call, and it's going to be no coincidence that it likely depends on which team you were rooting for in that game, right? You got an entire nation who thinks they got screwed over, and you have another nation who thinks that the call was the right play, because of course you can't put your stick in that area. But I'm telling you right now, had Canada done that and been called on it, this country would have had a meltdown. So I'm not disagreeing with the call. I'm not agreeing with the call. I guess I'm a bit of both, but the call was the call and the goal was the goal. And now the unfortunate part, or I guess the fortunate part for Canadians, unfortunate for the Finns, is you now have to live with the reality of the situation. And so that's the part that, you know, half the people who agree with the call are living life pretty large right now. Us and the other are licking their wounds, feeling like their country was royally screwed over.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I kind of think that if that happened the other way around, we'd be saying, like, what the hell was Shea Theodore or Drew Doughty or whatever doing that at the end? I mean, you know, you gotta. I mean, because I think we're like, this is not out of the blue. Like, when we get to the Stanley Cup playoffs, that happens. That's getting called. Like,
if anything, you need to be more responsible with your stick in that situation.
100%. Like,
that would be my overarching opinion on the situation. Is you don't put your team in a because here's the thing: you're getting away with extra punches after the whistle. You're getting away with certain things. One of the few things you're getting away in those kind of, you know, last minute or moments of the game are high sticks to the face and shots on the hand when there's a breakaway, right? Like, that's the other call that's happening is if someone gets taken down on a breakaway, right? Whether it's a penalty shot or a penalty, like, they're not going to let that fly. In this situation, like I said, I don't disagree with the call, but I can certainly understand frustration because of that very thing you brought up. The belief amongst a lot of people, right? Regardless of whether that's the case, should be the case, shouldn't be the case. There's a lot of people out there, including probably you and I, who believe in that kind of, in the final moments of games, usually the whistle goes away. But obviously there's a few exceptions, and we witnessed one today.
Hey, just before we move off the pucks, let's just assume that the U.S. holds this down. What do you expect on Sunday?
You know, I said this before. I think I said this on last week's show, and obviously that was very early into the tournament. Not like I felt like I was an island, like people didn't think Canada was good, but I was looking at Canada's players, and I was thinking, wow, like look at the talent here, look at the leadership, right? And while there's a lot of great players on the Americans, no doubt, and they're star-studded as well, they just felt like more impact players on Canada. Fast forward a week now, and I'm not saying my opinion has drastically changed, but I want to see more from some Canadians. Like this is an all-star team. Like, this is like, you know, I get that there's, you know, not everyone's Connor McDavid, but I feel this too much of shortening the bench on Canada. Like, it's just like, it's almost like I don't want to say John Cooper goes in a panic mode. I'm not suggesting that there haven't been moments in games that wouldn't have warranted it, but it's like you're riding Celebrini and McKinnon and feels like McDavid, which sounds like an obvious play to some people, but it just feels like there's not enough rhythm with the Canadian team. I'm not convinced that this cohesive unit is working together, and the last two games have not helped that lack of confidence. I still think Canada is the team. I still think Canada is going to rise to the occasion. That's what we do as a nation in our biggest moments. So I'm going to assume that the Canadian team is going to do it, but I want to see more of Team Canada, not, you know, hoping and praying that McKinnon's going to score. Because, like, I said to you off mic, like, I feel like McKinnon hasn't had a great tournament outside of that goal, right? Much like Nick Suzuki was, you know, and Mitch Marner were the two guys that most of social media was eviscerating before they scored their goals. I felt like it was very much with McKinnon. I feel like McKinnon, it's almost like he's on his own agenda. And I'm not trying to take my time here to like bash one of the best, if not the best player in Canada, because it's, you know, certainly, you know, you want to have Nathan McKinnon on in those moments and those times, but I just feel like there's too much panic in Canada's game. And this is a team where, like, every player, whether you're on the fourth line on forward or the third pairing in D, like, you're a go-to guy on your team and you log massive minutes. I want to see a tighter defensive game. You know, and it's not just from the defense, it's from a group, but I still think that Canada is going to be the favorite, and rightfully so. This is where we shine the brightest, and I have Canada.
Yeah, I mean, they certainly did. I mean, like, it wasn't like they were giving up a lot in the second and third periods. I think it was 31-9, I think, were the shots. And hey, when you need goals, you lean on your best players. The one thing I do think is that.
But didn't you notice though, like the quality of shots against Canada? Like, you know what I mean? It wasn't like it was all perimeter shots. It would be like Canada would press them for a few minutes, and then like Lundell had a small break, and it was like one-on-one with the goalie, and you're like losing your breath, and you're trying to recount the last 5 minutes of Canada, and you're thinking to yourself, there wasn't even one of those grade A opportunities in those, 5 or 6 chances, right? Like that was the frustrating part for me. Anyway.
Yeah, all I know is that the USA better be ready for Canada's best, and I would love to see a like that Marchand, Bennett, Wilson line that Cooper put together in the second half of that game.
I thought they played terrific together.
Oh, listen, I think that line is going to be together. I could see him start with Wilson, with McDavid and Celebrini again, just because you know what the States is going to probably try and do earlier on in the game. But I would be willing to bet money that, by the time the game really gets into it in the second and third period where, no one's wanting to take a penalty and it's tight, that unit will be out there and will be dominant. I guess the big question is, is Sid back? If not, is Suzuki the guy, which presumably stays in between Marner and Stone? And then how do you work those other three? Finished up with Horvat in between Jarvis and Hagel, and Reinhart kind of being the 13th forward, despite being the guy that scored the first goal. Didn't think he was great and wasn't as impactful. So we've got a lot. Hey, listen, before we go, just a little bit of Bomber news. A guy that was always, I'm sure, a very popular guy for the media to talk to, was always great to us. Drew Wolitarsky hanging it up and did it officially by signing a one-day contract here in the Peg with the Bombers.
Yeah, Drew will be like, Drew is one of those guys, right, that when you look at this Bombers era, Huss, right, this era here of Grey Cup runs, like there's so many names, right? There's so many players, whether they were recognized as, league all-stars or certainly division all-stars, that guys that there's going to be a wave of Bombers on this era that are going to go to the Hall of Fame, right? They're absolutely. And I'm trying to think, Drew Wolitarsky, I don't want to do him dirty like this. He might have got one West all-star nod. I don't believe so, but maybe one. Anyways, my point is that when you think of all the guys that are going to, say rise to the top of remembrance, right, in this whole thing. And like I said, there's tons of them. A lot of them are going to be recognized for what they did on the field and for certainly their stats and all that stuff. Drew Wolitarsky might be at the top of that list, or amongst the top, groups of that list of most recognizable players, both for what he did on the field, which again, he played a lot, he didn't necessarily have all the stats. He wasn't lighting it up year in and year out, but he was often the guy who was noted as doing the thankless job. Like he was an incredible blocker. Like he played in the mud as a receiver. He ran the routes exactly the way he was supposed to, knowing that he wasn't going to get tossed to. More often than not, but at the same time, developed into that player for Zach Collaros, who when shit went awry, Huss, he was the guy getting open, right? Like he was the guy that would find that open spot and would convert that first down. So he was solid on the field with a cast that just maybe even just a more talented cast, right? But everybody was talented. But as far as his mark, or at least what I'll remember Drew the most for, was just the guy that he is, right? Like the personality he possessed, the talent he had as a musician, his willingness to talk about life and to share, there was often a thing, it was between usually him and Rashid Bailey, that when you were picking one of those two guys, you made sure that you limited the number of guys you spoke to because you were buckling in for a conversation. Like I used to have a running joke at practice whenever I whenever I picked Drew, and I'd always look forward to talking to Drew after practice, I'd always joke with the guys that my first question was going to be like, what's the meaning of life? Because he would, he'd take that and he'd go on for 10 minutes about, he'd give you a life lesson on every question that you ask.
It's like asking Weber about the Jets second line center and then winding him up for 18 minutes with the longest answer of all time.
Exactly. But at least in this conversation, you got a determined answer, and so it was, Drew Wolarski would give you those things. And he was just like Kenny, like just the nicest guy, right? Like he never had a bad bone in his body. And it was almost one of those things where, like, I can remember the times when he quote unquote wasn't cool. And I'm not trying to say he was like a jerk or whatever. It was usually after Grey Cup losses where he didn't want to talk at certain points, whatever, because they were so far and few between. Like he was just always available, always a guy that would give you, just wax poetic about everything and then just see the benefit and everything. And even in the hardship that the Bombers would go through, and I know there wasn't a ton of adversity in Winnipeg for those years, but the times that they did, he would always just have a reflective response to, the moment or the situation or whatever it might be. So Drew Wolarski, no surprise, that he's back retired as a Bomber. He had such a great run here. I know there was some disappointment from him when he left Winnipeg, ended up signing off. Ted Gavaya obviously brought him over. He had injury problems at the end of his time here in Winnipeg, and certainly those followed with him in Hamilton. And here he is back in Winnipeg to retire. No surprise there, and certainly a guy that made a massive impression on fans, on coaches, and certainly on teammates who all looked at him as a guy that grew into a leader, right? Came here in Winnipeg as a expansion draft guy, like almost like a fake Canadian, if you will, because of his roots here, and became California dude, and certainly left as a full-bred Winnipegger and as somebody again who everybody liked and enjoyed talking to. So super congratulations to Drew Wolarski on his excellent Canadian Football League career.
Yeah, we got to get him back for one more acoustic set at Earl's to finish off the entire run as a CFL.
Yeah, how many players, Huss, are out there in any league whose retirement video is narrated by a song that you sang, so it's certainly that pretty much sums up Drew Wolarski and how unique of a human being he is.
Yeah, we'll look forward to get him. Hopefully, maybe we can hook up with him next week to talk to him. But just wanted to bring that up in the midst of all this Olympic insanity. Drew hanging him up, and cool that he did it as a Bomber. That was the way that it should be. Hammer, have a great weekend. Enjoy the game on Sunday, and I'll look forward to catching up with you next week as we kind of try to get back to normalcy after what's just been 2 amazing weeks of action from Italy.
Yeah, it's we finally got there, Huss. I think as a country, I know a lot has been made of where we're at as a, in the medal count and how many golds we have. There was obviously a major mission here, Huss, and we're right at the edge of it. Time to deliver, time for the boys to deliver for a nation and bring back some of those good feelings that maybe have been missing, throughout this games. But our big moments on Sunday for sure.
You bet. Hammer, great stuff, buddy. Thanks as always. We'll talk to you next week.
Always a pleasure, guys. Have a great one. See you next week.
There's Jeff Hamilton. Give him a follow on X at Jeff K. Hamilton. And of course, you can read all of his award-winning investigative work over in the pages of the Winnipeg Free Press. All right, let's get Reem back in here. Marbles is open. We do have a super chat from T. Konopali. And he again, all caps. I said it too. Soft call. Usually whistles get put away unless major call, and I'm all in on Canada. But I understand Timu. And yes, Hammer, I said it too. If it was the opposite, we wouldn't like it. Well, obviously you wouldn't like it. But I think... I don't know. My opinion is right now at this point in hockey, with the way that these games are called, not just in the Olympics, but in the National Hockey League, you whack a guy in the face with a stick, expect a penalty. And it doesn't matter if there's a minute left and it's a tie game. It's going to get called. All right. Marbles registration is open. We're actually going to do 2 races today because we've got a special one for everyone that joined us for the stream today. Just before we get to the Cool Bet lines, Reem, I will say I was excited to do the stream. I thought the timing was perfect. We knew that the interest in the game was crazy. And I don't know whether there was more people that were finding it because Canada was down and we had to come back. But we may have just set a brand new record for the WST YouTube channel with the people that came out just to watch the game with us and see what we were up to.
Yeah, I don't know if we got sucked into the algorithm, but I think it's our most watched live show since the one after Mark Shafley the hit on Jake Evans.
Crazy
and Habs fans went crazy. So that show was 20,000 views. And we've had some really successful ones on trade deadlines, but yeah, this one is at 28,000 views. Amazing. For Canada Finland watch party, 29.6. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. Maybe a bit difficult at times to follow the game when I'm troubleshooting the chat. We had some unruly people here that I had to kick out, and
some bots.
We got some bots. We had to put subscriber only mode on briefly, and I had to troubleshoot the entries and we're running giveaways, but it was pretty fun. I was pretty spent after. I had to shower and get ready for this one. It's funny. I showered and I put on this Canada jersey that I've been playing shinny in for the last 2 months. So I'm gonna have to shower and it gets, I don't know. It doesn't smell. I mean, it's a hockey jersey. It's okay, but I should probably give it another wash, but it's fine. It was a good win, and it was a pretty fun stream. Thanks for Pat and Jake coming. Nice to have a bunch of people, Connor, in there. So we're all in there.
Yeah, it was super fun. And the other thing was we had a ton of folks that were in, and as I said, extra thanks to the boys for the prizing that they give it. Pat went and bought a pair of seats. Section 119, row 3, center ice, right behind the jet bench. So everyone that joined us in the stream that entered is in for the contest, and we're going to do that marble race in just a minute. Second place in that race is going to be for a Coolbet prize package and a $250 credit at Coolbet that you can bet on whatever you want. And then when we finish that, we will do our regular marble race. So entries right now, we'll give you a couple more minutes. If you're just popping in, !marbles. And Remo, if while I do the Coolbet lines, if you want to grab the entries, just get the list ready for everyone that entered in the stream. Right now, as we mentioned, USA is up 2-0 on Slovakia. If you want to live bet this thing after the first period, it's USA -3.5 is the spread. There is no money line. They were already a massive money line favorite. What else do we have to go in the Olympics? We've got the 12.5 km mass start biathlon. I learned yesterday that biathlon's the #1 sport ticket-wise in the Olympics.
Really?
Which absolutely blew me away. I said, you could have given me 100 guesses and I wouldn't have guessed that. And the mass start is the one where they all start at the same time. They go up to the places. They got to shoot 5 targets with 8 bullets. If they miss, they have to do the penalty lap. So I'm on the favorite here, Lou Jeannemont from France, plus 300 for the mass start. We've got tomorrow, or at 3 a.m., we've got the bobsled, the 4-man bobsleigh. The Germans are the top 2 favorites. The favorites -141, little chalky. We've got the mass start cross-country skiing in both the men's and the women's. No surprise, Norwegians are the top 3 in the men. And we've got a Finn. Sorry, for the mass start. No, this is, I'm not sure if this is pairs or something like that, because we've got these are head-to-head numbers for the women. I see. So anyways, there are still a few things to get to. Olympic curling, Canada and Great Britain. That is going to be at 12:05 on the 21st. Canada, and this is wild. I mean, listen, I got to tell you, there's a lot of value on Great Britain. Mowatt's really had Brad Jacobs' number. Canada did beat them earlier, but it's all Canadians betting. So you want Jacobs, it's minus 159. Great Britain is plus 118. And maybe you can go Great Britain minus 149. Canada can win by 1, and you can win on both sides of it. Unfortunately, Rachel Homan lost to Sweden earlier today. So they're taking on the U.S. in the bronze medal game. Rachel will be incredibly focused to come back for a medal and not come back empty-handed again. Canada's minus 250. The States plus 179. And the gold medal match is Sweden-Switzerland. Sweden minus 105. And the Swiss minus 125. Little disappointing that the bronze medal match, I believe, is actually after the... Oh, no, sorry. That's tomorrow. So, yes, Rachel's playing tomorrow at 7. So you can get up early for that. That'll kick it off. And then the Sweden-Switzerland game's 4 in the morning on Sunday leading into the gold medal game. Sweden minus 105 and the Swiss, the favorites, at minus 125. Really a pick-em. And one other thing, don't forget, before everything gets back to normal with the NHL, full NHL futures are up right now to make the playoffs. Numbers are available. And let's see, where are the Jets? Oh, geez, Jets are 10-1. Second lowest on the board. Calgary's 35-1. Then you got the Jets at 10, Jersey at 9. Maple Leafs at 3-1. These are all the teams that likely won't make the playoffs. Macklin, Celebrini, and the Sharks plus 225. What do we have for the LA Kings? Kings minus 286. They like the Kings' chances. Anyways, there's tons of NHL markets if you want to jump on those before play resumes. Coming up next week, if you haven't played a cool bet before, use the promo code WST for a 100% bonus up to $200 on your first deposit. All right, Reem. Well, let's do the theme song right now, and then we'll do our first marble race. And while we're doing that, we can gather all the names for the regular WST Fridays. We got a little Tristan Rivers music teed up.
Yeah, I'm just going to go with the OG one for today.
Let's do it.
It's Friday!
All right, marbles time on WST. All right, what are we doing for a course here?
I just had to update my thing. Let me put it on. I asked Stormy, what was the name of that track we always do for contests? Champions Fire, although I don't know if it's there. Oh, yeah, there it is.
Champions Fire Project?
Yeah, that's a really good one.
Yeah, all right, sounds good. Let's do that one for it. So this first race, everybody, is for all of you that entered during our watch party stream this morning. First place is going to win center ice, section 119, row 3 tickets, first row, right behind the jet bench for Winnipeg and the Colorado Avalanche, Saturday, March 14th, courtesy of CoolBet. Thanks again to Pat for stepping up with an amazing prize. Should be a lot of fun. And listen, you're going to get to see a bunch of Olympians in that one, certainly with the roster that Colorado's bringing to town. So that's first place. Second place is going to be a CoolBet prize pack, some hats, probably a hoodie, a shirt, as well as a $250 bet credit at CoolBet. Jake and Pat will hook up that person. If you don't have a CoolBet account already, not a big deal. You'll be able to get one, sign up, and then the boys will throw $250 in there. So we're going to go to the Champions Fire Project for everyone that entered this morning on that stream. And, we got a lot in there. Perfect. Well, and again, thanks to everyone that joined us. That was a lot of fun. We'd be waiting for the right time to do something like that. And considering the turnout and how many people were in with us, I can definitely tell you when the time is right, we'll do something like that again. All right, first place for the Jets tickets behind the bench for the Avalanche game on the March 14th. Second place, the Coolbet prize pack and $250 at Coolbet. Let's drop them for Marble Race number 1 of 2 today on WST. The good old Champions Fire Project. Oh, I see we've got numbers on all of these. That's just from the Google Doc.
Well, some people only put in their first name and not a last name, so I didn't want to get into a situation where there was 2 people with the same first name. I didn't vet all them. I just kept so each user was given an entry. And some people will have multiple marbles because you could get a couple entries we got a lot of followers on Instagram from it. I'm sure we got a couple on our newsletter. I haven't been keeping track, but thanks to everyone who did enter.
Yeah, by the way, I mean, when we're doing these things, I hope you'd already signed up for the newsletter. But if you haven't, do that. I got a very nice message from somebody this week that said, I just got the WST newsletter. Very professional and well done.
Really?
Nice work, guys. I did. So, and that's something that I don't have a hand in. So you in particular and Connor and all that stuff, great stuff. All right. Looks like Keith Dirksen is first up. And then it's Will. And again, I guess if you only put your first name in, there could be someone else, but we'll figure that out. Hopefully we'll have a last name and it won't be that difficult to figure out. But here's Keith Dirksen, who is first place right now. And then Keith's got some. Russ Lohan was there all the morning. That was good stuff for Russ. Great supporter of ours, and many familiar faces. But again, it was great to see some of the new people that came in. And look, Russ is in first right now. I know Russ would love to be in those first seats right behind the bench. All right, here comes Russ. Here comes Will, Chris Miller, Brandon Innes. All here right now. And of course, this is the one where you get onto it, but you have to drop through one of the boxes, through one of the holes to be the first one. So again, first place is the Prime Jets tickets for the Avalanche game. Second place is the Coolbet prize package. Who's coming out first? It is very, very tight. Russ Lohan is there. Eric Shorlifson is there.
Oh my God.
Who's coming in? Who will it be?
Oh!
It's Eric! Oh. Big E over Russ at the buzzer. What a race. What a race today for the Champions Fire Project. So, Eric, congratulations. You, my friend, are the proud owner. We're going to be seeing you on TV. I'm going to set a PVR. I'm going to see you right behind the bench for Avs Jets on March 14th. And Russ, congratulations. You got the Coolbet prize pack. I know I don't think you're a big betting guy, but I'm sure you won't mind $250 to fire away on your favorite picks. Maybe you'll get into it. And of course, we'll hook you up with the other stuff that Jake and Pat will send out. So congratulations to our winners. Oh, and look at Jason Sheps, number 3. Speaking of contests, the guy wins just about everything. So close to another big win. So Eric, congratulations. Russ, congratulations. We'll fire you an email. I think Russ, you might get an email from Jake. And I'm not sure if you have a Coolbet account already, but you might want to set one up so you can get that other part of the prize. And then they'll just make sure they've got your size and your address and whatnot so they can send something else out to you. Eric will send you an email or whatever to send you the tickets over.
who a couple people, if Eric doesn't have someone to go with, he can definitely get a ride. Waiter's already offering, what time can I pick you up? And T. Will's offering to take Eric out for a meal before the game. So Eric, congrats to Eric on the win.
Eric, I would love it. I would love it if you took one of the fellas from the chat, actually. It would be great to get it. No, obviously, you won the tickets. You can do whatever you want with them. But you know what? T. Will's on my good side. He's actually had some great takes lately. Maybe you let him take you out. It'll be a nice little date between the chat boys and then for the game. I'll be at the game. I think I actually have my lower bowl seats there for that game too. So maybe we'll hook up for a beer at the game. It should be a lot of fun. But there we have it. Thanks again to CoolBet, Pat and Jake. Great prizing for today. And thanks to everyone that joined us for the watch party stream to kick off the day for the semifinal. Still 2-0. We're into the second period. USA and Slovakia. All right, Remo, let's we've been doing this for a long time today. I'm looking forward to just kicking back and watching this game. So are we going to go Champions Fire Project again today, or are you going to go
Sure, I would just run it again. That's a pretty good track.
It is a good track. It is a good track. So this is the regular marble race. We'll load those in. And then, as Issue Boy Bruce says, let's get ready to marble.
Let's get ready to marble. 1 sec.
Hey, while Remis is setting up, Dr. Terry, last season at the Gary Street Keg. That is true.
It's closing?
They've got a new spot. I think they're moving to the corner of York and Donald. Is Donald the one that's going out of downtown towards the...
Yeah, what's there now?
It's that big building. I think there might be residential at the top, and then the bottom. They've been working on it. There's been a bunch of construction in and around it. But that is my understanding. Yeah, the Keg is moving from the Gary Street spot where they've been for a long time, just a couple blocks over. So like if you walk out of it, you're sort of kitty corner a block away from BP. But it'll be very close. A very, very nice quick walk, even closer now to Canada Life Center for Jet games for the Keg. So that'll be good. Dr. Terry, by the way, former Keg maestro back in his earlier days. And I know that because I met Dr. Terry originally, probably 15 years ago. One of my homies who... got me into a fantasy football league with all of his buddies that used to work at the Keg, and they'd had this for 10 years already, and a bunch of good dudes in that. But the Keg will live on. By the way, in chat, just while we're getting ready to do this, where's everyone watching the game on Sunday? What are you guys doing? Are you going to get out? You're going to fire it up? You're going to get together with some folks? There it is, the Keg Fantasy Football League, as it was.
Here. I'll tell you, I was freaking out because my son has a hockey game for 7, and I'm, one of the assistant coaches on the team, and I was, that's like right during the third period. Sorry, his game is at 9, scheduled for 9, and I didn't want to bail, because, it'd be
a bad look.
I don't want to bail, and because it'd be I'm gonna stay home and watch, but I got a text today that our coach talked to the coach of the other team, and they agreed that the game should be canceled. And it's very important.
Let's call it a
for
draw.
Everyone to watch the game with their families.
You know what?
Very important.
The kids watching the gold medal game, they'll always have that memory, and it will be more beneficial to their future in hockey to watch this momentous occasion than it will be for them to be on a half ice for an hour at their local community center. So well done, everyone that made that decision in the Timbit Hockey League. We'll see you next weekend.
I talked to one of my friends who's a coach on another team. I said, our game got canceled. I'm so happy. He goes, oh, I'm not going. There's no way. So, and I saw Dusty texted his son, Marshall. First of all, I don't know how old Marshall is. I was surprised that he had
Marshall's like 9.
He's got his own
10 maybe.
He's got his own phone that he can text back at school. How soon do I have to get my son?
He said he's only got 15 things. He can't do his own things, but
okay, it's like a child locked phone for contact.
Yeah, something like that. he texted him though. Yeah, he was telling me this on the lock shop. He said, "So, Marshall, are you guys watching the game?"
Yeah.
In class, and he's like, "No." He's like, "All right, I'll be there at 9:15 to pick you up." But then Elizabeth, his daughter, who's in the same school, got to watch it in her class. And the funniest thing is that when Dusty went to pick him up, his regular teacher wasn't there, and they had a sub.
Oh.
So the sub obviously got called in, had no plan for it, and the regular teacher obviously bailed on the day so they could watch the game. I think that's pretty clear what happened.
I have a friend who's in the medical community who canceled his day. He said, "I can't do it," because he tried to avoid the game. Like, he was working the game against Czechia and was planning on, recording it and turning his phone off and watching at home, which I don't recommend anyone to do.
Always blows up.
It never works up. So obviously he was on a phone call with someone and heard people going nuts in the background and ruined it. Still went home and watched it. But you can't, if anyone out there is attempting to tape delay watch sports, do not ever expect to avoid the outcome. It is not possible. It will never happen. It will get ruined 9 out of 10 times, 99 out of 100 times.
And this one's 999 out of 1,000 because, you could be at church, you could be whatever, coming out, and there'll be people running through the streets if they win.
There will be.
And you'll be like, "Oh, I wonder how we did." It'll take somebody. And Dr. Terry, the game's at 7:10 a.m. Bars are opening at 7. Well, good ones that would have planned. BP's all open at 7. I'd imagine, I know the gang at Confusion, I think they were booked up last week for it. That's where I watched the Sochi gold medal game at 5 in the morning. It'll be one of those things. Get up early, get together with your crew, and make that happen. But anyways, let's do this marble race so we can go watch this game.
Very different. Yeah, the Sochi game is at 5. I remember we had a bunch of people over, having drinks and stuff, and
partied all night.
And then now
right through the night.
And now I'm with my family and my son, who's getting into hockey this year. Gonna have a nice moment there, so I am excited for that. But don't even try to watch the game.
No,
tape
but
delay.
I am I'll be in the bar for 7. That's guaranteed. But I am a veteran enough that I won't be doing what we did in Sochi, and that was close down the bar, go grab a bite to eat, come back, get our table back, and just take it right through the day. That was a long one. So yes, it'll be an early curfew tomorrow night. All right, everyone. Good luck. One more marble race today. The usual on a Friday, and what a Friday it's been. Thanks again to the Coolbet boys and everyone that joined us for that live stream. That was a lot of fun. We'll do it again sometime for some momentous occasions. But let's fire it up. We're back in the Champions Fire Project.
I'm just making sure I have today's names in. I get OCD that it's last week's, but we're good.
All right.
Sorry, we're good.
Here we go, everybody. Kicking off gold medal weekend from coast to coast. It's the Champions Fire Project. Very appropriate because we plan to be champions on Saturday, or on Sunday, I should say. Drop them, buddy, and let's see what we got. First one certainly delivered.
That was a great race.
Big Eric, Russ, Jason Sheps, just bang, bang, bang right away. There's Eric's Hot. Eric's Hot came out with a very strong, after his win in the first one. He's in first place right now. Seeing a few people get bounced. Pretty good. And there it is, Mr. Marbles today, Eric Shorlifson.
Oh, what's going on here?
Trevor Red Rangers. Wow, we've had a couple get blown up and down later on in the spot. K Woody 12 is in first right now. Trevor Red Ranger right behind. We got Pretty and Pionk and Rob Mahoney. Chat legend T. Kona-Pauly there as well. Oh, they're going to be partying in T. Kona this weekend, Pauly. What do you think they're going to do at the Spike? Just keep it open all night? Or will people have to leave at 2:30? Go grab something to eat and then get back in there a few hours later. We will see. All right, Trevor Red Ranger is sort of stuck right now. Donnie Boy has entered the chat. And now it's Amy Weeb who is in first. We got a big crew. The Win Dog, Mike Wynn. What's up, Mike? Mike, what are you doing for the game? I'm sure there's a lot of people that'll have some plans.
Well, I'll say it's going to be nice that you can wake up and just watch it. You're not going to be like waiting in anticipation.
Stressed all day. I mean, there's something to be said for that. I would have preferred like even 10, 11, like maybe not this early, but
I'm not one of those people like complaining it should be later in the day because it's in to accommodate North America. It's in Italy. This is like what it is.
Royal Sports Greg in first place. Greg's probably, I know exactly what Greg's done. He's taken a second to pop up and watch the marbles in between taking care of hundreds of people wanting to grab Canada jerseys before Sunday. Royal is stocked, everybody. Royal is loaded right now with all your favorite players. I think Celebrini, #1 seller right now. We got Royal Sports Greg. We've got D. McCallick. And who's going to get down first? It is D. McCallick. Well done. Just about Greg's first. I don't think Greg's ever won before. He's been in it. But Greg's big win was earlier today because I guarantee you that's good for business for Winnipeg's #1 sports superstore with all that Olympic gear they've got, because tomorrow's going to be insane on the floor. Call a few extra guys in, I would imagine. Folks, if you don't have them already, get your gear at Royal Sports before Sunday. So here we go. D. McCallick, Royal Sports Greg, the 55-yard line in third. Sobkirk, what's that? Hulu, 89. V-ball coach Mike in sixth. Manitoba. Sea Breeze BC in eighth. WST Maddie, ninth. And 10, Stella Luz. By the way, Maddie, I know I'm waiting on a hoodie for you and a couple other ones. I'll have an update next Friday, and hopefully in the next 10 days or so, we'll be loaded for the people that have been waiting. So there's D. McCallick. Congratulations. We went through our top 10. Forsaken was right there. There's Geoff. Rob Robinson in the 13th. We can keep doing it. There's Paul Coffey, 77. Donnie Boy, nicely done. Eagle Eyes. Speaking of Eagle Eyes, it reminds me, we'll get a poker date coming up now that we're back to business coming out of these Olympics. Joseph Stats. Who else is there? Gintelligence. Amanda S420. What's up, Amanda? Dr. Terry. And our last one, Al Dice. And then plenty of eliminations in the Champions Fire Project. But a great course. Exciting right to the end. Man, Remo, epic day for WST, I must say.
Yeah, it was crazy with the McKinnon winner, Canada. Man, it was pretty, 1-0 was fine, down 2-0. And then you're like, oh, it's taking a while here. But they certainly got going. You felt good out of that second period. Was it down 2-1? My mind is all over the place at what happened. Yeah, down 2-1 after the second. And they scored 10 minutes into the third. And then in the final minute here on the power play, McKinnon. Finnish fans and players not happy with the call that gave Canada a power play at all. Oh, I see Doug Ford is allowing bars and restaurants to sell alcohol starting at 6 Eastern. I haven't seen anything from Manitoba, I'm sure.
No, that's already done.
That's already done? Okay.
Ontario is so backwards with their LCBO laws and everything like that. There is more freaking red tape in that province.
Mm-hmm.
I will give we went through this 12 years ago. So
this is
anyone that was having their bar, they just put in a little hey, we'd like to open, and they said okay. So I know Wind City and BP's and I'm sure taverns. I believe I saw some people in chat all doing it up, and it will be fine.
I don't know if you're watching this game, Slovakia, USA, but the top comment, and I certainly agree, this might be the worst uniform matchup in sports. And I see people online advocating after the first period to put pennies on one of the teams. Like, I don't know.
They look the same.
I don't know. So you have USA white with blue shoulders and Slovakia blue with white shoulders. They both have blue shoulder numbers as well. Someone had to step in here, the IOC or IIHF, and put pennies on one of these teams. You can't have this. There needs to be an executive decision made. Someone has to go down and be like, too similar. I don't know if they're having trouble on the ice, but every single person watching this is like, this is tough, man. They both got blue pants. I don't like it. Someone has to step in.
Just in the chat, Benjamin Gant, is there a prize for winning the regular marble race? Yeah, we do these hoodies, although unfortunately we're out of about 3 sizes right now, some of the more popular ones, so I'm getting more done. So I think you may have been a recent winner. I can't remember all the people I've sent emails to, but hang tight. I'll have an update next Friday for the marble race, and I'm hoping to get them the following week. Transcona Polly, ain't Hasbeek your dentist? No, he's a drinking buddy of mine, amongst other things. But only in a real jam do I have to lean on Greg for dental work. Dr. Terry's my dentist, St. Vital Dental Center. Shout out to the great people over there. And then what? There was one other question that I go, oh, yeah, and Bruce, yeah, you've been forgetting for a while. As they say, hang tight for when we come in, and then don't forget once they're in. Folks, this has been an awesome day. Thanks to everyone that came in for the live stream this morning. Huge thanks to Pat and Jake from CoolBet for all the awesome prizes. Congrats to Eric and Russ, who are our winners from that. And then, of course, our winner in the D. McCallick, who won the marble race today. Don't forget, after the gold medal game, just look, it won't be immediate. They're just going to catch some of the reaction and everything afterwards. But Connor and Liz will be on, 20 minutes after the game, 25 minutes, like probably maybe 10, 15-ish. So you'll be able to check on YouTube when it's scheduled. Make sure to pop in there, hang out with them for a full reaction to the gold medal game. Thanks again to all the sponsors that make WST happen. And oh, by the way, one final reminder, if you want to bid and join me at Aikens Lake with that awesome fishing trip at Aikens in support of the HSC Foundation, go to givergy.ca/savor2026. Get your bids in. That closes tomorrow night. So we'll find out on Monday who will be hanging out at Aikens Lake with. That's going to do it for us. For Connor Rabchak, Michael Remis, I'm Andrew Paterson. Go Canada, go. Have a great weekend. WST Sunday Live following the gold medal game. And I will see you Monday, 1 p.m. right here on WST to kick off another week. Adios.
Oh, my God. Oh! Shut it down. Let's go home.
Thanks for tuning in to Winnipeg Sports Talk Daily. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube and your favorite podcast feed at winnipegsportstalk.com.